Hey everybody, got some new stand-up dates that I'm excited to tell you all about. On April 19th, I will be hosting High Desert Relief's 420 show at Launchpad. I'll be there alongside my friends, the Mango Cakes and the Rhythms. Very excited for that. April 25th, I will be at Revel Backstage. Myself and Trip Stilnecki will be taking each other on in the roast battles. And then on May 2nd, I'll be at the Guild Cinema featuring for Ben Roy. May 3rd, I'll be over at Unhinged Brewing. And then May 17th, I'll be up in Santa Fe at Knuckles Brewery. Then on May 27th, Austin, Texas, I will be at the Creek in the Cave for Lady Titty Tuesdays, their gong show. Super excited for that. Going out to Austin again. And then rounding out the month, I will be doing Don't Tell back here in Albuquerque on May 30th. All of the events that have ticket links will be in my bio on Instagram. Very excited to be all these shows. Hope to see you guys there. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming and doing this.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
It's because you mentioned it just before we started recording, and then when we were messaging about how you used to have a podcast, I could tell you used to have a podcast.
Why can you tell?
Because we were like struggling to start recording. We were already talking about stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm already like excited to talk. So
well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, I leave everything in for sure because like almost to a radical point, I'm very much a supporter of free speech.
Okay.
You know,
I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm not like, and I think that's what's cool about long form podcasts is, you know, regardless of what you're talking about with the person. Oh, cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for coming. It's
course.
Totally satellite coffee.
It's satellite coffee, guys. Sponsor us.
For real. I'm not even a big coffee guy, but please. But no, it's what's cool about the long form stuff is no matter what you're talking about, just having ideas fully fleshed out and seeing how people talk, what's their how does their mind work, like what do they actually think about something, or if you just like me and my buddies, we're just talking shit for 4 hours. Yeah, you know what I mean? People kind of latch onto that shit.
Do you feel like people are interested to listen to that long of a podcast? Oh, yeah. I was always paranoid about that with our podcast.
Oh yeah, well, because I think, and what's cool about podcasting is there's a million ways you can do it. Like there's not one, like I feel like the only no is just like being too like how do I put, like, okay, like Gavin Newsom, do you know who that is, the governor of California? Yeah. So he started a podcast lately. Very recently. Okay, so that's the correct response. That's interesting. So yeah, and so I watched like the first 45 minutes of one of his episodes. And it was so clearly like manufactured and scripted and very like he wasn't like, I don't agree with the guy on like 90% of what he's done to that state. But I would at least respect the fact that like he's giving an unfiltered, you know, answer to these questions, because he had he had this guy on named Charlie Kirk, and he's this like right wing like influencer type, and he was just tearing into him left and right, and Gavin Newsom just sitting there like, oh yeah, okay, oh just you have a good point. It's like, no, dude, come on, tell him how you actually feel. Like, you know what I mean? Agree. So I think that's the only kind of like, come on, because people, the reason why they, in my opinion, why they like the long form is it's authentic. Yeah.
I do feel like nowadays with social media, authenticity is just like growing. And the more you're yourself, the more of an audience you're going to have, where a few years ago that wasn't the case. And I love that because I do edit it to a certain extent, but I kind of also want to be me. Yeah. Because I'm so loudly me and I just want to be me. So I think that's really great that we're going into a new era with that.
Right. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but how you get more engagement with you in front of the camera. Yes. Regardless of the fact that you're saying, 90% of your audience is women?
Yes. Yeah. I have pretty much all women clients, or actually, I don't take men as clients. No offense. There's no like any other reason other than I feel like I just can get along with women better in the form of talking for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because color takes a long time. So I can't imagine spending time 3 hours with a man I don't know. I'm like, I don't have anything to talk to you about.
And in all fairness, I'm not sure there's a normal guy out there who wants to get his hair cut for 3 hours.
No, literally. I mean, not that I would, cutting is way shorter, but I get requests for color from men. But even to sit down in my chair for that long, I'm like, I don't really know if we have any. Like, if you're intellectual, it's different, right? But I think a lot of men don't really want to have those conversations. And like, I don't know, football and just the surface stuff. I'm like, sir, I don't know anything about that.
Well, lucky for you, I don't know shit about sports.
Perfect.
So
I'm in the right place.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I wasn't growing up a sports guy. I grew up around a bunch of dorks in tights.
I love it. Dorks in tights. I love it. This is my kind of movies.
But, oh, no shit.
Yeah, I feel like with my ex, oh my God, I'm not going to say which one. He loved like romance movies, and I was the one that was like, should we watch like the Avengers and Pacific Rim? And like, have you seen that? And he's like, no.
You're like, some kind of testosterone, please. Jesus Christ.
No, he was honestly like really good, well balanced, but just with movies. Like he loved like the more like romantic stuff. Yeah. And I'm not a huge romance movie kind of person, but I mean, I got a little more into it because of him, but I'm still just like, I want to live it. I don't want to watch it.
Wow, yeah, that's fair. It's not my first genre. I mean, everyone likes their own thing. I will say one of my favorite movies. It's a romance movie, but it's a lot more drama. It's called Blue Valentine.
I know what you're talking. That movie was so depressing. I just watched it.
Brutal.
Like literally 3 weeks ago, and the whole time I'm like, why am I watching this?
How long ago was Valentine's Day? So a month and a half. It was right after Valentine's Day.
It was after Valentine's Day, and I don't really watch TV anymore. And so I put it on one day. I was bored, and I hate being bored, but I was like, I guess I'll watch a movie. And I put it on the whole time. I'm like, this movie is so depressing. What is happening? Why do you love that movie so much?
I love, because I don't want to sound like one of those like film dorks, but like I love when a movie
sound like a film dork. Who cares?
I love it.
Get into it.
I love it when because they get super pretentious real quick. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm talking about. When they're wearing the fedora and they're like, "What did you think about the mise en scène?"
Like the wine dorks.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at Chopped Chili. Guys, this is personally my favorite chili brand here in the state of New Mexico, and you can find them online at choppedchilico.com. You can also find them all across the state of New Mexico at Sprouts, Albertsons, Smith's, and a bunch of other stores in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Las Cruces. I believe they're even down in El Paso now. They sell red and green chili, of course. My personal favorite is this blend of red and green, and they also sell online frozen bags of green chili. So again, go to choppedchilico.com to get yourself some amazing chili today. Now back to the podcast. Like wine should be in a box. Sorry, but like sorry.
I hate it when they come to your table and they like open the bottle and have you taste it, and I'm like, don't stare at me. Like it's fine, just pour the glass.
So when I was between 13, I was 14. I was between the ages of 14 and like 20-ish, 21. I worked in restaurants like during the summer and then like through college and shit.
Did you have to do that?
Yeah, well, not exactly like the wine tasting thing, but I remember it only happened to me once. And thank God, because it was so awkward. I was like 19 years old. I had just gotten my liquor license. I had no idea how to properly because it wasn't like a fancy restaurant.
Right.
It was Pelicans on the east side. So it's still like kind of nice.
Cute, yeah. Like they have good food.
Oh yeah. But so the table's like their anniversary, and they ordered like this really nice bottle of wine, and like they wanted me to bring it out in like the tin bucket with the ice, and like pop it open properly, and I had no idea how to do it. Yeah. I'm a 19-year-old kid. I just drink beer and whiskey. Yeah. Like maybe I was like barely starting to learn that I love whiskey. Yeah. But I just drink beer. Yeah. Like I'm not into like I don't know how to open a bottle of wine.
And I love wine, but it's like, what is the point? Am I going to tell you I hate this wine? I don't know. Like how pretentious is that? I mean, sometimes I'm like, and it's gross, but it's like I'm already in, so we're doing this.
And it got real bad because I didn't know how to open it, and the poor guy, like the husband, he didn't want to ruin the night for his wife, so he was like, come here, son. And he gets
Helped
the bottle
you?
and opens it for me.
That's so nice.
I was like, oh, thank God. And I'm just looking around like, I hope my managers don't see this.
That is so nice that he helped you. I love that.
so fucking nice. Oh, my God.
So go back to the movie. You were saying, I don't know how we got here. Oh, movie potential.
You did used to run a podcast. That's fucking hilarious.
I'm like, my best friend and I literally take 7 hours in a restaurant. I'm not even kidding. And we literally start 20 conversations, finish all of them by the end, because somehow I'll remember where I didn't finish it. So
those are the kind of friends you
remember.
want.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, so the reason why I love it, the reason why I love it is I love the way it's structured. And because I think it can be very...
Like how it goes back and forth?
It can be very cliche. That's a very tropey thing to like you see the past, but you know how this story ends.
Right.
So it's like the execution, it's like, well, I know like right now I'm reading, oh my God, All Quiet on the Western Front. And so it's about World War I. Okay. And it's like the main character and his friends, they're talking about how they're going to survive the war and how they're going to make it. But they're on the German side. Like, you know how this story, especially today, you know what I mean? You know how this story ends. It's not going to end well for these guys.
Right.
So it's about the execution. And so with Blue Valentine, you're simultaneously watching these two people fall madly in love with each other, and then they're going through the worst part of a marriage, which you assume ends in divorce.
Yeah.
And the way that they do that, and you're seeing like how, like with Ryan Gosling's character, you're seeing how like, charismatic, and he cares about himself like to some point. He's at the moving company job and he's kind of grungy, but he still kind of cares about himself.
No, totally.
And he's going out of his shell to meet this beautiful woman, and he's really going out of his way. And then like with Michelle Williams, she's kind of like in her bubble, like in her shell, doesn't really know how to be social, and he brings her out of that. And then you just see the end of it where he's like old, balding, beer gut.
That was crazy.
Alcoholic. At one point he is abusive, and then she's like breaking down and she doesn't know what to do, and like that scene where he comes to her job drunk, it's like
and the doctor he punches, I was horrified. I'm like, why am I watching this?
Well, it's like so clearly somebody writing that movie went through that, or had a very close person to them that went through that. So it's like, fuck.
God, stop, I can't. That's my worst nightmare is being in a marriage like that. I think that's why it was kind of triggering. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to watch this. But the thing is, I feel like people let themselves go in a relationship. And that was a great example. Because for me, I want to be better when I'm in a relationship. I think it's so silly that people want to be better when they're single. And then they're like, cool, I'm in a relationship. And then they're done doing the things that they were doing when they were single. I'm literally the opposite. And I think that's so important to make a relationship last long, because don't you want to be the best version of yourself for your partner? Why would you want to, be the best version when you're single and then catch somebody and then change? I think that's so odd.
Well, I got told this growing up, and I thought it was corny, and I thought it didn't make any sense. But as I'm growing up, I'm like, that kind of makes sense. Like, you got to love yourself before you love somebody else.
Absolutely.
And what is that like actually? I think the definition of love changes as you grow up.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something that I learned a lot in the relationship that I'm in right now.
Okay, that you have to love yourself at the same time.
Yeah, and then you learn how to give that to the other person. Absolutely. And then, because you can't, it's like you can't pour from an empty cup.
No, yeah. I think it is possible to grow with each other. And I think that's beautiful. So like even if you don't fully love yourself, I think you can get in a relationship if you don't love yourself yet. And if you're given that healthy space to heal while you're in that relationship, then you can kind of grow together. And I think that's actually beautiful also, because if you're healed, you might have some boundaries that you don't want to cross that can sometimes get in the way of a connection. Or and I'm not saying this is a tricky subject, right? Like, you don't want to not be healed. I'm just saying that being open to growing with somebody instead of having those like firm boundaries on certain things, I think it's beautiful to like grow together, but it's so rare. So it's also just a gamble.
And it's just strange when you start finding out what your boundaries are inside of a relationship.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, hey, wait a minute. And then like, you're like, oh, wait, I've gone through this where it's like, oh yeah, this is totally normal what's going on right now. And then like it slips out in conversation to a buddy of mine and they're like, hey, bud. Oh, that's not.
Relationships are so weird, honestly. The whole concept and the whole thing is so strange because you're just want a built-in best friend, but like there's so much, because I feel like I get sick of even the closest people to me and I need a minute, but I feel like you have a built-in best friend. And I think if you're growing together and doing therapy, have you ever done therapy?
I'm in and out of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those people where it's like I can't do it consistently.
Okay. Like how long do you do it?
I'll do it because I haven't been to therapy in, well, we're in 25 now. So probably like 3 years or so.
Okay. Why did you stop?
Well, the last time that I stopped, because it got to a point, because me and her had split up for a little bit.
Okay.
And
how long have you guys been together?
All together, probably like 5.5, give or take. Yeah, but there's been some, I don't want to get all of it out there, but there's been some, there's been some,
As there is with every relationship. Yeah.
But the major breakup that we had, I was like, oh, I'm the problem. Like it takes two for a relationship to fail. That's
beautiful. There's that you thought that though.
Well,
I love that.
It was brought to the forefront.
Well, good, but it still takes like self, awareness for you to think I'm the problem. Because I think so many people are the problem and they can't see it. Yeah. And I'm sure there's two. It takes two to tango. But
yes.
I'm just saying that sometimes that one person can have more of an effect on the negative side of the relationship, and that's great that you saw that.
Well, it's very rare that it's lopsided to one person because nobody's perfect.
Totally.
But I was the issue, and so I went back into therapy, and I did it for about 9 or 10 months or so, give or take.
That's a good time.
And towards the end of it, I was like, I think I've kind of figured out what I got to figure out right now, and I kind of feel like, because I was going once a week.
Okay.
And
that's like a good amount.
Yeah. And I was like, well, now I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of, I don't know. No, it's once every 2 weeks. And I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like I'm just coming here to complain.
Yeah.
And I'm not a complainy person.
Was your therapist like acknowledging any of it? Like being too... I hate, and I always say this with friends and otherwise in therapists, I love it when somebody tells me I'm wrong. I don't want to hear I'm right. Were they too validating, or were they kind of snapping you out of it?
It was good for the moment, but it just got to the point where, because what I found out, because that was my second major time going through it, and the first time I went to therapy was when I was overseas. I was in the military, and the way they explained it to me, and she was fucking great. The way she explained it to me was that therapy is it's a tool. It's not they're not going to fix your problem. They're not supposed to fix your problems. They're not supposed to tell you what to do at all. They just present you this, like, they open like a toolbox, and it's like, okay, what in here is going to work for you?
Absolutely. They give you tools.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I always try to explain it like to people that are like, I went for 3 months. I always say, therapy is like the gym. If you go to the gym for 3 months every single day and then you stop, it literally doesn't matter. Like, you have to continue.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can take a break, but it's not going to do anything in the long run for you or change anything if you're not consistent.
Well, it's how much you're putting into it. Like, just like the gym, if you're going, like, I know how I feel. I know how I look. I know how I sleep, how I think, all of that. When I've got a great diet, I'm training regularly, like, all of that stuff. I know exactly. And then I know how I am right now, where I'm kind of in the middle, where I'm like, I go off and on. My diet is mostly okay.
And that's healthy too.
You know what I mean?
To have the balance.
But you know what the differences are.
You do.
And the same thing is with therapy, I feel like. But yeah, towards the end of it, I was like, I feel like I'm complaining. And then my second to last session, I was like, I got to be honest with you, man, because he was a super nice guy. And the reason I chose him is I got referred to him. I can't remember who the fuck referred me, but I got referred to him because he's a licensed shrink, but then was also based in Christianity. Okay. So I was cool with that, and I was like, okay, it's my religion. It's what. I want to. Yeah, I thought this would be a good blend. He was a great guy, older gentleman, probably like mid-60s.
Okay.
And about like maybe a quarter until the second to last session, I was like, hey, I got to be honest with you, I've kind of felt like this for like the last month. I don't have a lot I want to talk about. I kind of feel like I'm complaining. I got to be honest. And the first red flag is his answer was, well, how do you feel about complaining? And I was like...
You're like, now you're just following a script.
Right.
Where you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I was like, now I started second guessing, like, now am I stupid? Like, am I drinking the Kool-Aid? And then so I was like, all right, whatever. We finish the session. Come back 2 weeks later... Not making this shit up, trying to figure out how to write it properly to be a bit. But about halfway through the session, he's like this and a little bit of...
Stop. He's not falling asleep.
But then I don't even acknowledge it. He catches himself, sits upright, takes a swig of water, red in the face. right? And I'm like, okay, he's obviously embarrassed. I'm not gonna fuck with him. Like that'd be mean. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna fuck with him. He's like a 65-year-old guy. I'm not gonna fuck with him. You know what I mean? Then about 15 minutes later, dead, just asleep.
Stop! He did not fall.
Oh yeah, dead serious. The old grandpa thing where he's like.
Was that your first therapist or your last therapist?
It was my last one, my most recent.
Well, no wonder you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there. And I let him, like, for maybe a minute and a half.
You just sat there?
I just sat there. And I was like, so I'm sitting, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? I could really fuck with him. But then I was like, I think he's in his mid-60s. What if he's older and I give him a heart attack and he dies? Like, I'm not going to do that.
You draw a Sharpie mustache on his face.
Well, part of me was like, I want to look at his notes. You know what I mean? I want to look at his fucking notes.
Shave his face.
So then I was sitting there and I was like, long night, huh? Doesn't move. And then I raised my voice a little bit and I'm like, long night, huh? And he doesn't move. Maybe like 15 seconds later, he wakes up and he's like just immediately like apologetic and all that shit.
Was that your last session?
Oh yeah, and I was like, hey man, like don't worry about it. No, it's totally cool. Like I told you,
he thinks about this to this day. I hope you know.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, and I was like, hey man, I want to let you know, like I said last time, I'm not really feeling this anymore. I'm just gonna fucking split. Bill me for the last whatever. My insurance covers it anyway. Sayonara.
Oh
and I walked out, and they had like real nice receptionist people up there, and she goes, oh, well, you're out a little bit early. Okay, when can we get you booked for the next, or for 2 weeks from now? I'm like, you know what? It's actually okay.
You're like, I'm healed.
Yeah. Well, because I remember driving away, and I was like, fuck. Maybe my problems are done. Am I that boring? Holy shit.
You're like, it's fine. I'm done.
So
that's good.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, we can close the chapter on that. And so I mean, but I know people, and there's like people in my family where like they'll go to therapy continuously so that when the big things do pop up, like that person already knows the history. They know what the good looks like. They know what bad looks like. They know how to whatever, like wrangle the animal back in. And that makes sense. But for me, I'm just like, I don't know. And like, I get how like today this is kind of seen like with the like toxic masculinity thing. But I really do feel like with most guys, your problems aren't that bad.
Oh
like,
my
God.
No,
hear me out.
No, I agree, kind of.
Well, because hear me out. Because like there's real mental illness. You know what I mean? Like and like growing up, I didn't know it was abnormal to have like severely suicidal thoughts every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then as I grew into my early 20s and I was like talking to my first like real therapist for the first time, and she was like, hey, yeah, that ain't fucking normal, kid. Like, let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I found out that I just
and that's
had
like comforting, of course.
Right.
You know?
And then I find out that I have severely low testosterone levels. And I was like, oh, okay, well, no shit. I
think a lot of men don't know that causes depression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And so most people don't even know that they have low testosterone.
No, exactly. And most men do have low testosterone nowadays.
Yeah. Like, because me, like, walking around right now, I'm a generally healthy guy.
Yeah.
I don't drink a ton. I don't smoke cigarettes. I smoke a bit of weed here and there.
Yeah.
But and I've been off like tobacco for like maybe consistently I've been off tobacco for like a year and a half or so, because like these are the replacement for me, because I've been wanting to stop chewing, because that's the habit that I got from being in the military.
These are a lot healthier too.
Well, I mean, because it's got no tobacco in it, so you're not dealing with the mouth.
It doesn't have tobacco in it?
It's just nicotine. So you're not dealing with the mouth cancer issues, but then obviously nicotine's highly addictive. So you're just doing trade-offs. But I went in and got a blood test when I got back from being overseas, and turns out like, so generally the bare minimum is supposed to be like 300, like on a scale, it's like 300 nanograms per deciliter.
Okay.
But most healthy guys in their 20s need to be between 600 to like 1100. Mm-hmm. I got tested, I was at 245. Got retested again 3 weeks later. I was at 185. Got tested again, and I was like actively dropping, and so I leveled out about like 168 or some shit.
Right.
And so now I like generally right now I'm at like 2. I think the last time I got checked was like 245, but it's still very low.
Yeah.
And most guys like don't know that. Mm-mm. So but growing up I just thought that was normal and whatever. Find that shit out. But there's like real mental health issues.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, it's like, dude, get it together. Like do an audit of your life.
I think men are a lot more sensitive than women. I'm just going to throw this out there. I know you might not agree. I'm just saying. I think typically women are more...
Define sensitive.
Okay. So this is my theory, right? I think women, and this isn't even just my theory, like I've explored this a little bit. Women, girls growing up, are told they're allowed to feel. Like if a little girl falls, they're not being told, you're a boy, you should stop crying. They let them cry. And so we learn some like emotion regulation through that. We learn it's okay to feel emotions. But little boys, like if a little boy cries, if you honestly pay attention to this, if a little boy is crying and they're told, you're a boy, stop it, they will have more of a meltdown and they will not stop. Where a little girl will stop crying very shortly after they're being validated.
Well, think of the inverse of that. You're sitting in elementary school, right? You're like in fourth grade, you're in class, and you got the two idiot boys in the back, and they're laughing at each other, and the teacher goes, hey, stop laughing. What are you going to do? You're going to laugh more.
Yeah. But I think the boys are just, there's more rules for little boys in that sense. Like, don't feel, don't, like, there's just more... And I know boys are more intense with their emotions, I guess, when they're younger too, and their behavior. I shouldn't say emotions, behavior, even emotions. And I think that's why women learn a lot more emotional regulation, because we're allowed to feel what we want to feel, where men are told, no, you're a boy, don't feel that, just be strong. And I think if people would stop doing that, it would change the way that men could regulate themselves. Because I agree with you, they should be stronger, but because at such a young age, they were never told emotional regulation. They don't know what to do with it. So it comes out angry, or it comes as an adult, because they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to place it.
Yeah, and you're right. I think I wouldn't say boys or men are more sensitive.
Well, now they are, because they weren't taught emotional regulation from childhood.
Well, I just think
as adults. Like, men are so crazy when they're sick.
It's not a sense.
No, I'm serious. That's proof. Like, women get up and go. Like, I rest my case. Mic drop.
We just finally have an excuse to be like, I'm not doing anything today.
1,000,000% that's what it is. You know that's what it is. It's like, I'm sick.
I mean, like...
You know that's what it is. Women are like, I'm already strong. I already know how to deal with this. Like, I'm sick. I'm going to do whatever needs to be done. And the man is like, I'm just like dying.
Well, you guys also... you also go through 1 week a month of just dying in your, abdominal area.
With
cramps
and all that.
And
exactly,
do our shit. Exactly. So you're going through that every month. You're like, all right, I guess I'm sick. All right, whatever. You just keep going. Yeah.
We just know how to deal with pain and emotions.
Well, that is a scientifically proven thing, that women have a higher pain tolerance generally. But I wouldn't say men are more
childbirth, probably.
Right, exactly. I don't think it's a sensitivity thing. I think it's an output thing. I think it's more or less equal, but with men, because because you are generally more suppressed in your upbringing, it just comes out like
it's emotional regulation.
Yeah, exactly.
We know how to regulate ourselves, versus you guys just don't really. Not all. Obviously, I'm not generalizing, but I'm just saying, for the most part, I think especially the men that are like, we shouldn't feel, like they're gonna be more angry, or they're gonna be and not always, because you're saying I've been to therapy. Like, I think the way you're doing it is great, because you're like, I've been to therapy, I'm working on emotional regulation, but also I should suck it up. And I think that's great. And
because think about it, because like, especially in today, 2025 in America, life is not that hard. It's really not that hard. I'm Persian,
coming from Iran, I can 100% agree.
Oh, okay,
with that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, life is not hard. And like, look, I get it. Like, chick leaves you. You lose your job, money sucks, like life things, people close to you pass away. Like, I get it, shit happens. But at the end
life
of it,
has been the easiest it's ever been.
Exactly. You kind of have to pull your shit together, because A, it's like, what's the other option? And B, it's like, I don't know, with what's going on in the world right now, you could be in a Ukrainian trench.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, life is not like, and I think about that sometimes. Like, I'm at my job, I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm in an air conditioned office. And all I have to do is make a couple of phone calls and deal with idiot managers. I think life is pretty good right now.
Honestly, my mom was saying that equivalent of like buying a steak in Iran right now, just from a grocery store, would be as much as it would cost us like $40 or $50 to just buy one steak to purchase and make at home. That's how hard life is in Iran for people right now. So unless you're extremely wealthy, I have no idea how they're doing it. Like groceries, we think it's bad here. And I'm always like, I never think it's bad here. Neither does my family, because we see how bad the world is. I also grew up in Germany, so I've experienced like multiple countries.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is still like by far the best. I'm sure there's other European countries that, you know, are better than what I'm used to, but I'm just saying in general, from everything I've experienced, we still think that America is the best in that sense. We still have so many opportunities and like are able to make a lot happen where so many other places in the world, and like there's so many Americans who don't realize that, and they're just like, this place sucks. And it's like, yeah, there's things they can do better. There's, you know, obviously politics are just messed up everywhere, really, but here especially. But in general, I think we have it really good and people just don't realize.
Well, I forget who said it, but there's a quote that I like, when generally, I'm going to butcher it, but generally what the quote is even if humans created a utopia, we'd set a fire just to see what would happen. And I think
that's what we do.
I think people have a real issue with life gets so good, you get bored and you find things to complain about.
That's a Persian saying. Like, that's a literal thing.
Really?
You create issues because your happiness has hit under your stomach is the quite literal term. No, seriously. This, my mom always says is when nothing is wrong and they're like, that's just what they're doing. Because that is what we need, obstacles. We need things to work through. We need things to resolve.
Well, so it's like, and like, you know, without getting extremely political, like, I get that there are people in this country that feel oppressed and that feel like their lives are going to take, their rights are in jeopardy, whatever it is. But like, generally speaking, if you are living in a country where the biggest issues are racism and gender problems, I think we're doing pretty okay. Like, if we can whittle it down so far that our biggest issues are social issues, they're not like
poverty,
like extreme poverty, war-torn country, infant mortality issues. Like, if it's like civil issues that we're wrestling with, when it's not even like the worst of civil issues, like we don't have homosexuals getting thrown off of buildings or getting killed in the streets. And I'm
sure
like,
there are some. I think because you and I don't necessarily have to deal with that either. It's a different place for us to say this, right? Because we're not living that life. I think being transgendered or being gay in a certain, you know, in certain states. Like,
there are certain states where you know, really where people are treated negatively because of it, right? But they're not getting like wrangled up into camps, or they're not like, because try being a part of the LGBT community in Iran.
Right. No, totally. My mom was saying this is a thing, because they're becoming more and more a thing. And people in Iran, like, not even joking, the cops can just take you and take you in and beat you up for no reason. Woman, man, like, it is not a thing where you have rights. You are, you know, like, oh, you know, that would never happen here. If the cops took you in that sense, you could sue them. You could do something about it later on.
Your civil liberties get infringed.
Right, exactly. But
the fact you have civil liberties, is incredible.
Absolutely. And I think that that's really something people don't realize. Like, in Iran, when abortion rights were taken away, I was honestly so upset, and I had certain people that were conservative, because I'm very middle, right? I have conservative views, I have liberal views, but with rights taken away, I get really pissed off, because Iran was really, really progressive, and it was a beautiful country where my mom's dad was offered a job in America, and they're like, why would we move?
Like in the 90s, right?
In like the 70s.
In the 70s? Okay, in the 70s, yeah.
And then the Shah got overthrown, and, you know, Islam took over the government, and it became really intense. And I think that people don't realize, like, I got really upset because I'm like, gun rights should also not be taken away. And I'm sure, you know, my liberal clients don't really know these parts of my opinions, where I'm like, no rights should be taken away to me. Like, whether it's gun rights, abortion rights, rights shouldn't be taken away. That's how it starts. You take one right away, they'll continue taking rights away. And then it ends up like Iran, where nothing, you literally walk out without a headscarf and they're doing, Iranians are very intense, honestly. They do whatever the fuck they want. And then they get taken in. They're risking it. But people don't realize that just taking off their headscarf is a risk there. That you can be taken in and hit with a chain on your back multiple times over and over again. And this isn't something that's common knowledge. And I think that's so, you can do whatever the fuck we can talk shit about the president in this country and nothing happens to you. You know, you would probably get killed if you did that in Iran, like outright. And if they caught you. And I think that that's a beautiful, beautiful thing that we experience here. And I just, like, I'm all for rights in every way, shape, or form. I think I just can't with rights taken away, period. So I had a hard time when that was happening.
Like you said it perfectly. Once they take away the one thing, it's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. That's how it happens.
Like you go down the path of destruction of a. I know that we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic.
Right.
I get that. But you start losing these democratic rights, and you're like, well, maybe this all could have been like there was I think it was a Japanese general in World War II when they're trying to figure out the America issue. They're like, how do we deal with the Americans? And they're like, yeah, America's a sleeping giant. Don't attack them. And we also can't invade them because there's a gun in every blade of grass.
Right.
And so that's what helps keep oppressive entities, let's put it that way, oppressive entities at bay.
Right.
Because like, so for instance, right, like I don't think I'm in like the worst part of town, but it's not the best part of town either. But like a couple weeks ago, it was like 9:30 at night. I was getting ready to go to my chick's house, and I was getting my stuff together, and I hear like out that way just, and then like maybe a second half later, from like a little further away, people clearly shooting at each other. I was like, oh shit, this is it. So call the cops, but they detected it. Whatever. I get into my truck to go drive away, and literally everybody, like I'd say probably 90% of the people that live here, like were standing outside of their apartments with a gun, just looking to see what was going on.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, good.
I'm glad you're protecting yourself.
It's like I live in a strapped neighborhood. This is beautiful.
You're like, I'm safe.
Yeah, like this is beautiful. And it's like, well, that's what you want in society. And it's like the armed society, polite society thing. I know that Albuquerque's not that polite, but that's how it's like a microcosm of how America is. And that's a beautiful liberty that we do have. And you know, for me personally, like, you know, I personally myself would not encourage my girlfriend to have an abortion, but like I understand that that's me.
Right.
And
that's
that's
what it comes down to. It's a personal choice.
Yeah, I'm not here to impress that on other people.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, if you start taking that away, what else do you now have the liberty to do?
Literally.
Because now you have it's called case law. So then it's like, okay, well now you have in this specific case, this was ruled is all right, we can go ahead and do that. Now you can apply that other places, and it just starts crumbling in on itself.
Yes.
So were you born here in America?
No.
Okay.
So I'm Persian. I was born in Iran.
Okay.
And then we moved to Germany when I was 7. And I grew up 7 or 8. And then I pretty much grew up in Germany until I was 17.
And did you guys move? Let's go back to Iran really quick.
Yeah.
So you lived there until you were 7.
7.
Do you have memories of living there?
Absolutely.
What
I
was
went
that
to first
like?
grade there. It's beautiful. Iran is so misunderstood. It's like one of the most beautiful countries. It's so beautiful, and the culture is so old and just so deep. And I absolutely am obsessed with my culture. The government, on the other hand, is absolute crap, and it's horrific to live there. Women have no rights.
Is it under Sharia law?
It's ruled by Islam.
Okay.
So everything, you cannot have another religion. You can literally get killed if you have another religion. So people have left a lot. Like a lot of people living in America that are Persian left out of fear, and that's why they got visas here, because they were basically fleeing the country. And that's wild too, that you can't have another religion or the other beliefs from the government. But my mom really left because women have no rights. And this is why I'm like, abortion pisses me off, abortion rights. So women in Iran, if you vote, your vote counts as half a vote. Half a vote.
Wait,
do you understand? No, literally. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yes. And if you want an abortion for any reason, the man has to approve. If you want to leave the country and you're married, the man has to approve. That's some bullshit.
Right.
And that's why I'm like, absolutely not. You will not take my rights away. I don't care what your beliefs are. That's insane. And my mom left because, so if you go through a divorce, the man automatically gets the children. Make that make sense. The mother doesn't get the kids. The man not like, let's figure out what makes sense naturally. I don't necessarily love that the woman naturally gets it too. It should just be like a logical process of seeing what works for the children. But really it's the fact that over there men get children. And so my mom was like, yeah, screw this. Like, I'm leaving the country. She's literally bad at, I have never seen or met a cooler woman than my mom. At 29, 30, she moved with 2 little girls. and moved to Germany, and she was like, I'm leaving.
If you don't mind me asking, did she want a divorce at the time?
She had wanted a divorce the whole time. She was basically forced to marry my real dad by her parents. It wasn't like arranged, but they were just like, you got to marry him. And so she was like,
was it a political reason? Was it a religious reason? Was it a societal?
Societal. I would say more societal, yeah. So she moved, and we lived in Germany for 10 years, and then she met someone, and I actually moved. I've had culture shock after culture shock after culture shock, which I think is part of the reason why even I'm so interested in so many things and like wanted to learn so many things, because when I moved to America, I was 17 years old and I didn't speak English or understand the culture or anything. So we had to move here, and my stepdad thankfully moved us to a city where nobody spoke Farsi or German, which is why I picked up on English so quickly, considering I was 17 and I didn't speak it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, literally nothing. Like the first day of high school, I was like so confused, and my real name is not Sophie. I just wanted a name that people didn't have a hard time pronouncing, because in Germany everyone was like, how do you pronounce this, and everyone kept butchering it.
Are you comfortable saying what you're...
Yeah, Sadaf is my name, but everyone says Sadaf, or like they just like make it harsher than it is. It means seashell, and my sister's name is Pearl, and she just goes by Pearl, but I couldn't go by seashell. I mean, I could have, but you know, a little bit interesting. And so we came up with a nickname, and I picked Sophie. And the first day of school, I remember literally the teachers calling me Sophie. I don't speak English, and I don't know my name, so I'm just like, it was such a confusing day.
Is there a word in Farsi that kind of sounds like Sophie, where you would get that confused?
Sophie. American names don't have really like meanings, like any kind of Persian name. They don't. Like sometimes they can, but it's like, what does Matthew mean? It's a biblical name, but does it mean something? I don't know. It might be like,
well, Matthew's Jewish,
right? But what does it mean? Actually, if it's Jewish, it probably means something.
Yeah, I was thinking like Kyle. Or like Stanley.
Yeah. Tanner. Does that mean something? Chris. Like, does it mean something? No, it doesn't. Persian names all mean something. Every single one of them are deep meanings.
Right, yeah.
And so, like, I was just like, I guess. You know, I grew up in Germany. I got bullied. We lived in a small white town. And
where'd you move to initially?
It's literally called Gießen. It's the smallest town, like literally the smallest town. In Germany.
Okay, in Germany. Okay, we moved to Germany. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I'm actually don't
mind at all. Ask anything.
Yeah, I'm fascinated in your. Is it Iranian or Iranian?
Iranian. Yes.
Okay, Iranian.
Yes.
I want to pronounce it properly.
Yes.
So I'm interested in that upbringing. So you mentioned that your mom wanted a divorce. Well, she didn't want to get married in the first place.
Not to him.
Married to him. Married for societal reasons. Is it like a if you have children and no husband, is it like it's a frowned upon, looked down on kind of thing?
Very much frowned upon. She would have done it because she's just so cool, but it wasn't. She just wanted to get away from the control.
Or are there like legal issues? Are there like, if you're a woman that's not married and you have children, do you like?
A little bit. I think it's more that, so like, it's funny. So in Iran, who you marry is what your financial status is going to be.
Like caste system or class system.
Right. Okay. So like if you're poor, there is no climbing up any ladder. And my mom, you know, she comes from a really wealthy family on her end, but my dad's side was extremely poor. So we were just poor. And so part of the reason she wanted to move, because there's nothing, women can't do a lot. Even if you go get your education, you get a PhD, you can't make a lot of money. Like, it's just not going to happen. It just depends on the family you're married into and you come from. That's what it comes down to. And that's also another factor that people don't realize. Like, yes, it's a lot harder to make money nowadays here, but you can still get to a point where you make enough where you're comfortable here. And that's like a beautiful blessing. Over there, you're poor. There's literally nothing you can do. And there's actually a lot of little, like, younger girls who end up prostituting, like a lot who end up as a prostitute in Iran or in Dubai. They move to go be a prostitute in Dubai because they cannot figure out how to make money.
Well, and how much of that, obviously it's in theory, but how much of that is them choosing to do that and how much of that is trafficking?
It's them choosing it because they have no choice. So again, if you come from a poor family, there's nothing you can do to make money. There literally isn't.
Was it, growing up, I mean, I guess you would know it at the time, but looking back, do you feel like there ever was like a fear from your mom's point of view of like, my daughter's getting trafficked?
Well, we were too young, but I'm sure she thought my husband is poor, basically, and there's nothing they can do to get out of this. And if we go to another country, there will be many opportunities where they can get out of this.
Right.
So then we moved to Germany because of that. But I think like, I just feel like people don't realize how lucky they are. Like I get why people are upset about the climate, political climate nowadays, but I just don't think anyone understands what it's like to live in a place like Iran.
Well, world perspective is important, and I get it. Like, and it's the same thing for why I understand why people don't get like bigger ramifications, or they don't understand context things when they see headlines from the news.
Yeah.
Because like most people, you have a full-time job. Probably have a relationship you're in, you are worrying about money, you're worrying about food, you're worrying about a car payment, and then if you have kids on top of that, or you have family issues on top of that, you're dealing with like a sick family member or even like sick kids, you have all these life things, and it's like, well, and I think people nowadays, because of really big independent creators and independent podcasters that are bringing more nuanced ideas to the limelight, right, and questioning, outright showing. And I think this last, regardless of how you feel about the guy, I think Trump getting elected really showed people that the mainstream media is dead. Mm-hmm. Like they couldn't win people over with the, he's a fascist, he's a racist, he's Hitler, he's all these things. Like, okay, all these headlines are one thing, but this is how my life is right now over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And I think this election showed how...
I will argue that people just didn't see that.
Right.
A little bit, because it's so... You would see that. Some people, I feel like a lot of people just didn't even see certain things.
Right. And so, but it shows that the mainstream media is pretty much dead and dying.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, since really like when was Kennedy, like the 63-ish? Like that was like the Kennedy-Nixon debate was kind of, in my opinion, the birth of the modern, what we have, like the corporate media.
Right.
If you know that story.
I don't know too much about it. Like I know a little bit, but clearly I didn't live here until 2008.
Right.
So
yeah. Yeah. So basically what happened was up until then, all the debates were done on radio.
Okay.
And the Kennedy-Nixon debate was the first one that was televised.
Okay.
And what was interesting,
cool.
but what was interesting was at the time, when people got polled, generally, if you watched the debate, you thought Kennedy won. And a big effect on that was because of how he looked on camera. But if you listen to it on the radio, most people thought Nixon won.
How funny what body language does, huh?
Exact body language, presentation, literally how you look, right? And so,
confidence, yeah.
And as things carried on, you have the corporate media, and you have like MSNBC, CBS, Fox, all these companies. Anyway, all of that being said, where was I going with this? Okay. So generally speaking, like, having a world perspective, people don't have the access to that, or like the brain, like the wavelength to be able to dedicate time to looking into what's going on.
They're in a bubble.
So, exactly. So America's in this bubble where we have these generalizations, and that's been one of my questions. Because obviously, because of where we live, there are a lot of generalizations and a lot of assumptions and stereotypes about Iran. How do you digest that? What are like the major ones that pop up? Just bringing that up.
Oh my gosh,
like
so
what
many.
pops up to you, where it's like, hey, that's really wrong, or hey, that's spot on.
There is no spot on.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, every single one is wrong. Everyone thinks Iran's a desert, and Iran is like the most green, beautiful place. There's some deserts, but it's like literally tropical. And Tehran, where I was born and raised, is like New York. And then there's the desert. Like they have everything. And there's some weird, I swear one guy asked me if we ride camels. And I was like, sir. It's like, yeah, did you just ask me that? Do we ride camels? Cool, I will never talk to you again.
Well, okay, so but in all seriousness, how much of that do you think is just straight up ignorance? How much of that do you think is racism?
I think there's a little bit of ignorance, but there's also, again, going back to the bubble, you have to go outside of what you're being taught or what you're seeing day to day, which is hard. It is hard, like for people to kind of strive to know more beyond what you're being presented on a day-to-day basis. And the media presents Iran in a specific way, and that's what everybody just thinks Iran is. But Iran's literally one of the most beautiful, beautiful countries, and so full of culture and so full of depth. And like, I'm so proud to be Iranian. I think the government is absolute crap, And they've tried multiple times to overthrow it. Like, it breaks my heart. So many people have died. They've tried multiple times, and they go into crazy, months and months of just trying to like overthrow the government, and they can't. They'll hire even like soldiers from other countries in order for the soldiers not to feel bad to kill their own people, and kill enough people where the people just back down. That's how intense it is, right. And I think people just don't like realize how crazy it can get, and that's why I always get so intense about rights, because I don't think people understand how easy it is and what a slippery slope it is to take away rights. And then, like we discussed earlier, so to me, I'm like, no rights taken away. That's the whole point of this country. Like, it's just an interesting subject to talk about, because I think Americans in general they just don't get it. And I think if you're not fully liberal, you're a horrible person to them, because they just don't see the full picture. I'm just both. Like, to me, I'm a humanitarian, so I see that side of liberal, being liberal. I 100% agree, but there's just any extremes bothers me. Like, it's like, just use your brain.
Yeah. Well, and that's and it took very ugly things for it to get to this point, but that's one thing that I kind of have hope for the Republican Party, because you're gonna, just like on the left and the Democratic Party, you're gonna have extreme like sects of that, right? You're gonna have extreme sides of it where they're like entrenched. This is what I know, or this is what I think I know. Yeah. This is what I believe in. I'm not going to change it. Like, I'm not straying away from this. But the closer you get to the middle, a lot more people on the right, because of what's going on in Gaza, they're all looking, because God, like flashback 7 years ago, maybe, you look at the Republican Party then, support Israel. Israel's right. They're our ally. They're surrounded by terrorists. We need them. Flash forward to October 7th. Of 2023, right? Yeah, 2023. Yeah. And it's like, oh, man, hey, yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah, fuck those Palestinians. And then like,
well, I feel like the thing moved.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And now it's like, and then like 8 or 9 months later, they're like, hey, wait a minute. I get it. October 7th was not a good situation. That was really bad. But like, can we let up with the bombing?
Yeah.
Like, can we not? And then now we're like, well, because we're in basically April now. So, 18 months later, give or take, now we're at a point where I'm seeing a lot of my conservative friends that are really like, yeah, like, we need to fucking support Israel. Now they're like, yo, this is not good. Like, I get that October 7th happened, and I get that Hamas is a bad organization, but like, Palestinian kids shouldn't be dying every day because of what's going on.
That's what I love. Just use your brain.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of people on the right turn to like the more humanitarian side of things, where it's like, okay, I get it. Terror cells are bad. Terrorist organizations are horrible. But like the best example I've heard of it is he's a libertarian comedian and like political commentator. His name's Dave Smith. And the analogy he used, he was like, yeah, well, if you're a police force and there's an armed gunman inside a school, well, you don't bomb the school. Like,
exactly.
You don't bomb the school. You got to figure out how to get the guy without leveling the school and killing all the kids and the teachers and the staff. Like, same thing over there.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing a lot more people on the conservative side of things kind of look at that humanitarian side, where it's like, hey, this is becoming a real issue. Like, I remember, I think it was September of last year, August of last year, where they were like, it's going to take an estimated like 60 to 70 years to rebuild Gaza.
Oh God!
Based off of where it's at right now.
That's wild.
And it's like, what the fuck are we talking about here? So I completely agree.
But even liberals, like any extremes, there can be super extreme too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Any extremes in that sense bugs me. It's just like, why can't we see, like, this is super off subject, but I'm newly single and I'm on Tinder. So nobody go on Tinder.
Well, I just saw. So I was on Tinder like maybe because I'm turning 28 this year. So I was on Tinder maybe like 10 years ago, and I remember when it was just
I've never been on a dating app.
God, don't do it. Just from seeing my single friends' experiences,
it's horrific.
Because I remember back like 10 years ago, it was like a simple swipe left, swipe right. And then towards the end of my time on Tinder, it was like, okay, now we're going to cap your swipes. And I was like, all right, whatever. But I saw my buddy's Tinder, like he was showing how fucked up it is, and now it's like they're just hitting you with ads, and you only get like 10 swipes, and you pay like $15 a month. You get like a super like or whatever. I'm like, dude, you gotta like go to a Barnes and Noble, I guess.
Go to Barnes and Noble. That's a good piece of advice.
That's where I met my chick. I don't know, man.
Did you? That's perfect. Women love Barnes and Noble. Go to Barnes and Noble, guys.
Go to the gym. Take a yoga class. I don't know. Go to a park.
I agree. I feel like I just wanted to see what it's like because I haven't been single in so long. I have not been single in 12 years. Like I haven't been with one person and two people in the last 12. Majority of it with one person. But I was like, I want to see what's going on these dating apps. But that's literally what I put is like, it says, what is the most sexy thing you can do? And I just put like, be open-minded. Because I just in any way, shape, or forms,
God
like
bless
literally
you.
God bless you. Everyone pray for me.
I just know how fucked my Instagram algorithm gets. And I'm like, Tinder has got to be like 10 times worse than this.
It's so crazy. And like so many people, I feel like people are so close-minded. And to me, it's like, you can have an opinion, just hear me out and say like, I see your point, and then move on and have your opinion. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I think what really bothers me is like, if you're set on this idea without hearing other people out, and it just literally drives me crazy. What is your zodiac sign?
Oh, dude, maybe you can figure that out for me.
You don't know your zodiac sign?
Oh, no, that's not true. I was born in June, so it's
June what?
Gemini.
You're Gemini? I'm a Gemini.
I think
June what?
June 9th.
You're a Gemini.
Yeah.
Wait, that's why we can talk so much. This is literally a thing.
I think,
yes, I'm so talkative.
I just don't.
I can't believe you're Gemini. What is your girlfriend?
Oh, November 16th, whatever that is.
Is that a Scorpio?
Scorpio.
Oh, I love Scorpios.
Yeah.
What zodiac sign is November 16th? I have to know. It's a Scorpio. Yeah, sure. Wait, I'm obsessed with Scorpios lately. That's crazy. You're dating a Scorpio. Is there some universal thing going on, Geminis and Scorpios?
Sure. Why not?
You're not into zodiac sign?
I don't know. Like maybe that is one of the things that I'm not closed off to it, but I'm just like, okay.
If I read your chart, you're gonna be like, okay, that's my whole life.
So here's my thing. So this was like a couple years ago, and I remember I went down this like rabbit hole about like star signs and all that.
Okay.
And then
there's so much more to it.
And then I like read like the general like for that year, I read like what it's supposed to be for the different things, and like there's because like what 9 star signs, 8 of them, something like that. 12. Okay. Oh, because forever. Duh. Yeah. So
12 months.
I remember. I remember reading a few of them and being like, well, a lot of these apply to me. Like
because they don't. Okay. So this is why I said chart.
I just want to say, what a subject change you just pulled on me.
I'm so sorry.
From politics to star sign. What a subject change you just pulled on me.
I'm surprised we even got stuck on one subject that long. That's not my personality. The switch is what I do. So the chart, the whole point of a chart is the fact that people always say this. Well, I'm a this and this, but like I don't relate. Okay, there's 12 or more. I'm scraping the surface here, okay? And I thought I know a lot about charts, and I don't because there's so much to it. But you have a moon sign that rules your emotions. You have a Venus sign, that's how you love. You have a sign in Mercury, which is how you communicate. That's why you don't relate to just one sign. That's why you think that also applies to me, because that can apply to you in the way you get shit done. Mars is the way you get shit done, the way your career goes, the way that you like your podcast stuff. I'm betting it's something creative, like Pisces or something like that. And I would love to like look up your chart and your girlfriend's, and I'll tell you guys everything about it. But like literally, I'm not kidding. Your rising is how your mask is to the world. That's why it doesn't make sense. And every time the skeptical people that say that to me, and I pull it up, and they're like, okay, this is what it is. Aside from one guy who was like, this applies to everyone. I'm like, how? What? I can't talk to you. Get out of here. But
So are you one of those people that if you're about to go on a date with somebody, you find out what their birthday is
1
as soon
million
as...
percent.
Boy.
If you don't tell me what time you were born and you don't know...
What time?
Well, you have to know the time. That's how you know the chart. If, like, literally, again, newly single, right? So I'm like, my friend tagged me in this thing that was like, if you don't know this and won't go on a date, refuse to go on a date with a guy who doesn't know their birth time, I'm like, 100%.
So
this is me.
Do you have like a... I can't be about to ask this. Do you have like a checklist where it's like if they hit enough of these things, I won't even go on a date with you?
Actually, no.
Good.
I think,
okay,
yeah,
good. Don't get
yeah.
so entrenched in the moon.
No. I'm not that. The moon is important. Get entrenched in it. No, I think for me, it's more like if you have certain zodiac. Actually, I don't know. Recently, I did date a Capricorn moon, and I'm just like against Capricorns. No offense. For me, it's just not.
You might as well be speaking Farsi to me. I don't know
You
what
don't
that
know
means.
what that is?
Not at all.
Capricorns are mid-December to mid-January, and they're just way too
born in the cold. They're sad.
Structured. Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
Literally, they're just so structured and so rigid and so like non-emotional and so like, what can I do that benefits me? I mean,
but that just sounds like a narcissist. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, anybody can be a narcissist.
No, I know, but Capricorns are just born that way. Not that I'm saying you're narcissist. Do not post this on your Instagram. I'm digging myself a hole here.
No, we're just talking. We're just talking shit.
Yeah,
we're just talking shit.
I literally will not date a Capricorn. Like this happened recently. I met a guy who was that is one thing that.
What
I'm
if
like
I post
weird
this
about.
to my Instagram and then I tag you in it and then just
Capricorn
a bunch of your unread DMs just unsend.
Yeah, literally. Good. Please get out of my DMs if you're a Capricorn. Actually, I really can't. That's one thing I'm weird about is Capricorns.
Is that what you hinge your dating life on, though? It can't be.
No, it's definitely not. It is definitely not.
Okay, good.
And I met a guy recently that wouldn't give me his birth time. He's like, I have to meet you in person, and I'll.
Well, he's a loon too.
He's a Scorpio. They're so dark and interesting. I love it.
The only reason I know my birth time is because
you know your birth time.
I do.
We have to look up your chart.
But here's why I know it. So when I was like. Just before I went to high school. So I was 13. Okay. My mom had like this like time capsule thing for me. And I like cracked it open and one of the documents said it was 5:55 in the morning. And
that's a cool time.
Right. Well, the only reason that stuck with me is because I went to military school for 4 years of all of high school and 2 years of college.
Okay.
And we had first formation at 6 in the morning. So that was when like no shit, you had to like start getting outside, like you had to be there by 6:10. So if I knew that like, okay, God, this is gonna be really dorky. So I've got until 6:10 where I have to stand in the right place or I get yelled at by another adolescent.
Oh my God.
And like looking back on it, was very goofy, but I loved going there. Yeah. I really did. But I was like, okay, if I know I have to be there in the right spot at 6:10 and I can at least jump 4 sets of stairs without breaking my legs, that means I have to wake up at 5:55.
I love that.
I have to brush my teeth, put on deodorant, I can take a shower after I eat breakfast. That's fine. I can put on my uniform and just literally run down and be there. So I would wake up every morning at 5:55 and then it like clicked with me like having the freshman year. I was like, oh yeah, that's when I was born. Haha, that's funny. And then I snapped out of it like, oh, I gotta get downstairs. I threw my shit on and would run downstairs.
But there's a connection.
That's the only reason I know.
You don't. I'm just saying the universe is magical. And this little Scorpio boy keeps making fun of me.
The fact you call him a boy, I've noticed this about women, by the way.
It's a cute thing. It's like a cutesy thing. Scorpio boy.
Yeah, but like
Scorpio man. Does that make you
well,
feel
no,
better?
because it's like one of two things. It's like if you're just, I've noticed like my female friends, like if they're just met a guy, they go, oh, I met this nice boy, but if they're with him for a long time, like, yeah, my man is awesome.
Oh, of course, once they prove themselves to be a man.
Yeah, longer than like 3 weeks, if you're still a boy, you're like friend zone. It's like, oh,
it's
look at you.
Not a friend zone thing.
Look at you, you cute little boy, you adolescent. Oh.
It's okay, baby.
Yeah, see, you want to do that to your fucking man.
Actually, I'm not going to say much. I just met him. I don't want to talk too much about it. But wouldn't give me the time. He's like, once I meet you. And I was like, excuse me, I've never been told no before. What the hell is this? And he's like, yeah, you're going to get the time when I meet you in person. And I have to look you in the eyes. Tell me if your girlfriend's like this. Like, you got to, the Scorpios are like, I have to like see your eyes to see what's actually happening.
She
Like,
never
they
pulled
want to
that on
look.
me.
No?
Maybe not
She
outright.
doesn't wait to talk to you in person to like read your eyes. I feel like there's something about Scorpios where they can just like feel your vibe or like something about your eyes where they know whether or not you're telling the truth. That's never happened to you with her? I'm shocked.
I might get in trouble for this. But
I know, the silence.
But she definitely will wait to talk in person if she's mad at me.
Told you. I'm telling you. It's the Scorpio. They will read. They want to read your eyes.
That might also be a crazy Latina thing, too.
It's their eyes.
So,
I'm telling you, they can read your eyes. Scorpios are really like talented at that. That is the one sign I can say 100% with certainty. One single thing about is that Scorpios want to read your eyes.
Wait a minute. What the fuck are you then?
I'm a Gemini. I told
you're
you.
Gemini. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You said it at the beginning. Okay, that's right. Okay, cool.
It's okay. You don't give a fuck about zodiacs.
No. I was like, it just clicked in my mind. Like, wait, did she tell me what she was? Because am I getting
No, you
conned
told me
the whole
Scorpio.
time?
No, I know, literally.
So when were you born?
I've been May 26th.
Okay.
Yeah. But I feel like I've been so interested in Scorpios because I go through like phases where I love growth and like I go through literally, I'm not even joking. I'll like smoke weed or not even, right? But like things will hit me over and over. And I'm like, oh fuck. Like literally things will keep hitting me. And I go through an immense amount of growth in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And I
I'm the same
love
way.
that.
Yeah. Well, no, it was like last night. Last night I was driving home and it hit me. I was like, fuck, I turned 28 this year.
You know what? Shut up. I'm turning 35.
I'm almost 30. You're turning 35?
35.
Listen, all
May
right.
26th.
Listen, I wash my face and I'm well groomed and everything, but like after this, I'm gonna get your skincare routine
I
because
actually just started my skincare routine.
you look like you're in your early 20s.
Thank you so
whatever the fuck
much.
you're doing, keep it up.
Thank you so much. Literally, I'm like
Keep it
so
up.
happy to hear that. I am so shook by the fact that I'm turning.
You're not
35. I swear to God, I'm turning 35.
God
in May.
bless.
I know.
I look like I'm in my mid 30s. I've been told that on a regular basis.
You know what though? When I was
Like,
in my
literally,
20s, I thought people thought I was in my 30s.
Like,
Maybe you'll age backwards.
Well, and I'm not too like. I will say I was getting ready for a show. Friday
The comedy
night.
show?
Yeah.
I want to see your comedy show. Is that like what do you make fun of?
Oh, everything.
Everything.
Not everything. That's not true. I have a couple of subjects in my act right now that I'm working on. But I was at my chick's house and I was borrowing her brush and I was getting my hair together and I just saw like this nice wave of silver and I was like, oh my God.
That's genetics. If it makes you feel any better, it has nothing to do with your age.
You're just fucked. No amount of star signs can fix that.
No,
Stupid.
sorry. No, it's your genetics because like now I've seen grays here and I'm like, oh no, what's happening? I color my hair, so I hadn't noticed. Yeah, I hadn't noticed it, and the other day it popped out, and I was like, oh, okay, here in my 30s, cool.
But that's funny.
I know.
So he made you wait until the birth time.
We met on the date. He said, once I see your eyes, 15 minutes, and you can have the birth time.
And
I was like, oh, you little shit.
That's weird.
You know what, though? It's like kind of cool.
No,
let me tell you why.
If that's the guy's priorities, then he's got to get his shit together.
No. He is. It's more that I get what I want.
Or maybe he knew your game and he was like, I know how to get her.
Exactly.
And
that's what I was just going to tell you.
Maybe that's 4D chess.
He knows
and
I
respect,
can get,
I guess.
and he plays chess. And he knows.
I'm just talking shit.
No, like literally though. I love that you're doing that. But it's so funny because like he knows I get what I want typically because I keep getting confused. I'm like, are you telling me no? And so like it's kind of fun because he's fucking with me, but he still gives me what I want, and that's interesting. What's
that called? Negging or whatever? Right?
No, is that what it's called?
Is that what it's called? Negging or some shit like that? Yeah, I don't know.
It's fun though, because I'm used to people just doing what I want.
That's not healthy.
I know, exactly.
That's not.
So then he's like, no, I'm like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, I think you're surrounded by the wrong people. Or you were surrounded by the wrong people.
Well, see, now I'm with the Scorpio who doesn't tell me yes. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Also, I like it. What did you say no to me?
You were talking about that earlier. Boundaries. Boundaries are good. He has a
lot of boundaries. Scorpios have a lot of boundaries. Does your girlfriend have a lot of boundaries?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scorpios have a lot of boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm into it. I have a lot of boundaries.
Well,
I've learned them with age, but
I don't think that's exactly. I don't think that's like a star sign thing. I think that's
It is.
I think,
Everything is a star sign
no,
thing.
I think it's a healthy human being
No,
thing.
it is.
You know what I mean? You need to be able to say no to things.
But some signs naturally have that, and some signs takes time for them to learn it.
Okay, but then how much of it is your upbringing? How much of it is
Nature
the
versus
environment
nurture
you're
versus
in?
signs versus I'm telling you though, I swear, once you understand the whole chart as a whole,
Here's
it
why I
makes
say
so
that.
much more sense.
Here's why I say that, because growing up, and I've been doing, I don't know why, but just like over the last like maybe 3 months, been thinking about this a lot. Like growing up, I was, maybe it's not that I had a horrible childhood, because I didn't, but like, and there were some iffy things, but
Yeah.
you know, looking back on it, I'm like, well, I was definitely set up to be a people pleaser. I was definitely set up to yearn for attention and yearn for approval and all that kind of stuff. And there really wasn't a lot. Like, I know for a fact I was never sat down and explained relationships,
Right.
whether it's
Did you
dating,
have like a healthy relationship
friends.
in front of you that you kind of like role model? No.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
So I was never explained like, this is how friendship works. This is how romantic relationship works. How business relationships work. I was never explained that.
Right.
And so now like I've looked back on it and I'm like, yeah, like that's the exact environment for a people pleaser type thing. And I just thought it was like, yeah, like I've had to figure out how to like, what is a healthy boundary? What is like over compulsive, or just like maybe like not too much, but like, you know, like, I guess over compulsive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just learning all of that. Because I don't think that's like necessarily a star.
But let me
sign
give you my
thing.
argument. If
Okay.
a person who was like, for example, a Scorpio in a situation like that, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with Scorpios right now. I'm obsessed. I'm actually obsessed.
Because you're dating one.
Tell your girlfriend
Obviously.
I'm obsessed with. No, I've dated like 4 in a row.
Oh, okay.
This is like an obsession.
Well, maybe
at
you
this
have a
point.
type.
And I'm not even picking. It's like literally just happening. And I'm like, oh, you're a Scorpio. Jesus Christ. What am I doing with my life? But no, seriously, like if a Scorpio were to be raised in that kind of an environment, I would bet you anything it would become more of a rebellious, like being overly the other way kind of a thing. It's just you're an air sign. So Gemini is air. So we can blow in any direction. I'm not kidding.
That's a general
But
like human
it's
thing.
It's not
though.
that general though. Because if it's a Scorpio, they wouldn't. If it's Earth, like a Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, they're so rooted in their ways, they wouldn't be as easygoing and learn and grow. Like in fact, Earth signs in general have a lot of a harder time saying, okay, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I should work on this. Seriously. Now you're going to pay attention and you're going to mark my words and you're going to be like, Sophie said.
There's your next podcast. Sophie said.
Sophie said. We're
you
just
go.
talking about zodiacs the whole time.
That's a lot catchier than my old podcast name. So there you go.
What was it?
Oh yeah. So so this is new. This is a new rebrand.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I had originally started doing the podcast, it was in October of 2020.
Oh, that's when I started mine. That's so funny.
Yeah. And it was a play on OnlyFans, and it was called Only Kings.
Only Kings?
Yeah, Kings.
Oh,
Kings.
Kings. I was all, oh my God.
Yeah, no, that's not me, for sure, no.
okay.
No, because at the time, like, the meme was running around, like, take care of yourself, King, know your worth, all that stuff. And I was just like, oh, this will be, like, a dumb thing to do for 6 months, and then 4.5 years
and
later.
then it stuck. I love that so much.
Well, thanks.
No, seriously, that's really cool that you stuck to it.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Where are you planning on going with it? Just, like, seeing where it goes, or?
That's a good question. I know, and I was talking to my buddy AJ, because me and him, he's another comedian in town. We put on shows around the city, and I was like, dude, I'm really fucking sick of like, not because I'm not complacent with it, but it's like,
where does it go next?
well, it's like, where does it go next? But it's like, how do I like hit the, like, where do I strike gold and I start getting more engagement? I start growing more. And it's like, how the fuck do I do all of this? Because there's, like, I think February of last year, there was something like 3.4 something crazy million podcasts that are registered. And I get that most of it is like podcasts that have died off, and like how many people, I think most podcasts don't go past like episode 10 or 20 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's like how there's so much of it. There is an oversaturation for sure.
Right.
But it's like, how do you keep growing it?
Stand out?
How do you stand out? How do you whatever? And I was like, well, I think there's a couple things I could do better and stuff like that. But as far as growing it, hopefully it'll just grow in congruence with the comedy, you know, and
That's
just keep
a great
going
idea.
that way. But I mean, I'm just going to keep doing it until the wheels fall off.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
You should.
Because there will be some periods where I'm like, I don't know how to like, fuck, I'm running out of guests. How do I do this? How do I do that? But then I'll like go through like a week where it's like, oh, I'm booked out for the next 3 months.
I love
All right, sounds good. I just go from there. Yeah.
How do you pick your guests?
Is it interesting?
Okay.
Just do I want to talk to this person? And that's why I love them. Like I was saying a little bit earlier, what I love the most about like the sponsor that I have is they don't tell me anything. I think like we had ones, like he had seen my podcast and he's like, dude, I think you have something. We want to sponsor you and just see where you go. And that was like 2.5 years ago.
Oh my God. That's, and it being a local place, which is my entire vibe and energy in life is supporting locals. I think that's amazing. And Albuquerque is honestly so much cooler than people realize. And it's gotten so much cooler than people realize over the last few years. And I think that someone local supporting you like this and like having you,
I'm very thankful.
I love that.
I'm very, very thankful. Nice. And, he was just like, hey, don't talk shit about the brand. And I was like, easy,
well,
you're paying me. You're paying me.
Yeah, and you're great.
You're paying me. You. It tastes good. Like, I think we'll be okay.
Yes.
And so whenever, like, because there was a time last year, like right after the election, where I just flat out, I did like a solo episode and I took the advertisement out of it. And I was like, hey, I voted for Trump and here's why. Mm-hmm. And I got a lot of support and I got a lot of shit for it, obviously, because of just how the climate is. And even through that, they're like, nah, dude, keep going. Do your thing. And so I think that's
amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
What a blessing.
Yeah, so as far as like picking a guest, it's like, and because they don't control who I talk to, nobody controls who I talk to. Mm-hmm. It's like, is this person, would it be cool? It's like, like with you, like I was telling you earlier, I saw your thing with the block and I saw your page and I was like, oh, she highlights local New Mexico stuff.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
That could be cool.
My sister and I are just like, we thought about moving. We both went through a breakup around the same time. And so we're like, should we move? Like, what are we doing
What year was this? Just out of curiosity.
Like, recently.
Oh, super recently. Yeah. Okay. Because I had that same feeling a couple years ago.
Yeah. And so then we're like, okay, I guess we're staying here. And so we're like, if we're going to stay here, we're going to try to make this place like cooler. Because Albuquerque has so much potential. It's just a matter of, I think there's so many cool people here. There's so many cool businesses here. Yeah. Locals like are amazing at creating amazing businesses. But there's something about New Mexicans I've noticed that they love to like either go to a chain or go to like a local spot that's like already been there for years, like Sadie's or something.
It's the land of manana.
Yeah.
We'll do it later.
Yeah. So I don't know why like it's like that. And I just want to, help these local businesses grow and stay open because, I might as well have like cool places. There's so many cool spots that have opened and closed. I
have a theory on that.
Yeah.
Before we continue, if you want to get a drink or take a break.
Can I take a break?
Yes, let's take a little break. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back. So, local spots. So what my theory is, the economy is always like, the economy's been better in Albuquerque and New Mexico in general. It's been better, obviously. Everyone's getting hit right now, but with just the last, with COVID, and then we're still recovering out of that. Then
Did 205 restaurants closed during COVID?
That doesn't surprise me at all.
That's crazy.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But I feel like there is, because again, like the whole land of manana thing, I feel like there is some kind of mindset or stereotype or outlook where it's like, so if you think about Albuquerque itself, it's very not divided, but it's like there are some parts of life where it's sectioned off like, oh, that's the South Valley, that's the Northeast Heights, that's and well, not even status, I would say like stereotypes, right? And so like when you see like higher end restaurants, you look at that and you're like, oh, well, that's so clearly for the people in the Northeast Heights. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's for the people that live in Tanawan. Mm-hmm. And then you go and like you see the price points on a lot of things. People just immediately just write it off. And like, okay, well, yeah, I can go, or we can go, if it's like a couple or friends or whatever it is, we can go to these places that may have amazing food or amazing drinks, but then look at the price point, or they might even look at the because there's a few places popping up now, like up in Rio Rancho, there's a place called The Block where you went to, and we do comedy shows there now. And I remember when me and AJ went up there when we were first touring it, and we were like, "Yo, this doesn't even look like a fucking Albuquerque thing."
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even look like it belongs in New Mexico. Like, what? This is something out of Tempe. And
This
like,
is why I want to support them, because
it's
like
great.
more places like
Yeah.
that should exist here.
It's great, but some people might look at that and they're like, "Oh, yeah, it's not for me because I'm from New Mexico, or it's not for me." You
But
see,
it's the
what I'm trying to say?
mindset. It's the mindset.
It is a
though.
mindset.
Like on TikTok, I've actually stopped using TikTok, and I got to go back on that because it was so much more successful on TikTok. But TikTok is so negative, and I experienced so many negative comments with people saying Albuquerque sucks, like you're crazy, and like of course you think this place is cool. You have money, or like of course there's things to do. You have money.
That
and
was my second point.
It was crazy.
So there is obviously stereotypes with how Albuquerque is, but then a lot of those stereotypes are true. Like the crime here is out of control. The violence here is insane. And we have great spots here, don't get me wrong, with both local and higher end, or they're all local anyway, but you know, like local mainstays and then like higher end places that are brand new.
Right.
And then stuff in the middle, like blocks more in the middle. We do have amazing places like that. But there are like it's
You gotta be positive.
right. No, I agree.
There's so many people that are negative about Albuquerque. So it's like, okay, so you think it sucks, it's a shithole. So what?
Yeah.
What now? You know, like you just wanted to stay a shithole. You're pissed off at me because I'm trying to make it a better place.
Well, that's also just a human problem where it's like, okay, you're mad about it. Okay, here's the solution. Oh, you hate the solution, even though it might be good for you.
That's what always happens. There's so much shit talkers on
Like we were
TikTok.
talking about earlier, people like complaining. People
they
like
love
creating problems. And I think that for whatever reason, there is, if people are being honest with themselves, there is a bit of that in the Albuquerque culture.
Totally.
And quite frankly, I don't know how it changes. I gotta be, and I think a lot of it too is like, so for instance, they just closed down because the owners were moving out to New York, but Dry Heat Comedy Club. I became friends with the owners.
Is that the one on Central?
Yeah.
I liked that place, but they didn't have alcohol.
Yeah. Oh,
That
you
was
went.
a little rough.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I went once.
Okay.
And we drank a lot before because I liked drinking.
When did you go?
Like 2 years ago.
Oh, so did you go to the location where it had like the baseball seats, or it was like an open room?
Baseball seats.
Oh, you went to the OG location.
Is that the OG location?
Yeah.
There was another one they're closing. What a bummer.
Yeah. So what had happened is they were there for like a year, I think, a year and some change, and they moved to it was like Second and Gold, I think.
Okay.
Around there. It's where the box is now. It's like an improv place. And there's like a bigger space for it.
Right.
What show did you go to? I'm curious.
I don't remember. Like, I love comedy shows. I think that comedy shows are so fun. And we had gone to a couple, like at one of the casinos. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the guys that almost won America's Got Talent. But they have alcohol there. And then I went to see Theo Vaughn live, and they had alcohol there. He's so funny.
The local.
Like, so good.
Yeah.
But the local thing I loved, with that kind of thing, I'm like, I'm getting to a little bit of alcoholism. No, but if I'm having fun, I like drinking a little bit.
No, comedy. What you need for a good comedy show, it's only a couple of things. You need good lighting.
Yep.
Low ceilings. It needs to be a little cold in there. Tight seating.
God, I agree.
And booze.
Is that a thing? Like,
Yes.
is that just like what they study?
And now I haven't had it like explained to me on like a psychological level, but there is, like, generally speaking, when people are, it's a dark room and people are close to, so the close together helps the laughter travel, right? But if the room is dark and it's hard for you to see the people next to you, you're more encouraged to laugh at fucked up things.
Interest, because you're not feel embarrassed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, especially now today with how everything is politically,
yes. I love it when comedians are like super like out there and
then
outrageous.
you would love
so
my
much
set
funnier.
because I talk about horrible things.
I just love it when they do that. It's like, but that's what's comedy. Like, if you're trying to be careful, you're not funny. Like, you just gotta say whatever is
right. And clean comics have their place. Like Nate Bargatze.
No, they do.
Like Nate Bargatze. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's a great comedian.
I'm also horrible with names.
Yeah.
Like, if I saw the faces on Netflix, there's so many comedians I love, but I can't.
So he's a great comedian. I think he was the highest grossing comedian last year.
Oh, wow.
And he's
a clean comedian.
He's completely clean.
See, the funniest ones to me are the ones that are a little outrageous.
Yeah.
If not fully. Like, what
Who
is
do you
the
like?
one? I don't know his name, but he makes fun of himself looking a little Down syndrome. And he says like his family members are Down syndrome.
Oh,
He's
Shane
taller.
Gillis.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Shane Gillis.
Oh, he's so
with the mustache
funny.
and the goatee.
Yeah, and he like makes fun of like conservatives and liberal. Like he
has a Trump impression.
Fun. Yes.
Yeah, Shane
He's
Gillis.
So
He's
funny.
great. He's huge right now. And he's phenomenally talented.
I saw him years ago, like not live on Netflix, and we fell in love because he was outrageous and he was saying crazy shit, especially at the time that was like really out there.
Oh, you saw his
now
Netflix
it's
special,
like relaxing. Yes,
Beautiful Dogs.
Yeah, is that yes?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. And like at the time, you know, I was just like, thank God, because comedy had started being too clean, and people were too scared to make jokes like that.
So do you watch? Do you watch Kill Tony?
I don't see again. I'm
I
horrible
feel
with
like
names.
you would
have to, like,
love Kill.
Okay,
So
I'll
it's
watch
it's a YouTube comedy show.
Oh no, so I don't watch YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So the whole premise is, so the host is Tony Hinchcliffe, and his whole thing is roast comedy, roast insult comedy.
Okay.
And so it's him and his producer Brian Redban, and he's the guy who helped start up like the Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh wow.
Your Mom's House with Tom Segura, and then obviously now Kill Tony.
Cool.
What they do is they host it's a podcast technically, but it's a comedy show where they have guest comedians on a panel and random people. They have regulars on the show, like regular comedians come in and do a minute long sets. What they do is they have random people that want to be big comedians or maybe just fucking psychopaths. They sign up for the show. They randomly pull a name out of a bucket. Person comes out and they do a minute of stand-up comedy and then they get interviewed afterwards.
I love that.
And
what an opportunity too.
It's fucking hilarious.
That's so good.
It's so good.
See, I feel like comedy should be outrageous. That's like, otherwise it's like,
well, it should be authentic.
Authentic
Because
too.
we were talking about slippery slopes earlier. If you're just saying it should be outrageous, then you have psychopaths that just go up there. You have it here in Albuquerque at open mics where they just go up there and they just say outrageous shit just to get a reaction. But a lot of it's not funny.
Well, if it's not funny, then you're not a comedian.
It's open mic comedy.
But you gotta actually be funny. If you're
right.
funny and you're being outrageous and you're being
yeah.
authentic, like you said, that was a perfect word.
Yeah.
That's my favorite kind of comedy. And I just like, I love comedians that aren't careful and they're just like, yes, this isn't appropriate. I'm a comedian. Get over it. You know, like, and I think that's how it should be. But we went there because we were looking for a comedy show and we drank before that.
Yeah.
And then when we went and sat down, by the time, because there's so many openers and sometimes they're just not that funny. You know, like that night they weren't. I'm sorry, but they weren't. I was like, I'm going to bed. I'm asleep. It's over.
Well, that's local comedy. That's local comedy.
Or maybe if I was drunker, and then my friend and I, we were like, we can't even speak.
Some poor opening comedian's like, oh, the pretty girls in the front aren't laughing at me.
We're like,
fuck, what do I do? But that's a real thing.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
And we had alcohol in our bags, but it's like, we can't pull it out. The whole thing is tiny.
That's the most New Mexico sentence I've ever heard. Is like, we had booze in the bag.
Obviously, we had booze in our bag. But it's like, I can't pull it out. The light is shining on my face. Like, you're right there. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I like being a little, I think if they would have had alcohol, they would be a lot more successful.
And that's why I bring it up, because like when you talk about all these local places, you're not staying open very long, and then you have issues with just opening a business in general. I've had her on twice, but the owner of the comedy club, me and her became friends, and
that's so
and
cool.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, Sarah's awesome. But we were talking about it the first time on the podcast, and she took like 30 minutes to explain how to get a liquor license, how challenging it is, and why they don't have it, and to own a liquor license, at least at the time. So this is like last year around like April-ish, so maybe like a year ago. $250,000.
And it's limited, right? There's not even like unlimited liquor licenses. Like,
yeah,
you have to
there's a limited amount of liquor licenses that the state can give out, which is stupid.
Wild.
So to own one, which is like a full license, beer, wine, liquor, is just over $250,000. Then if you want to lease somebody's full liquor license, it's something insane, like a little over $7,000 a month. Then if you just want I forget the actual name for it, but it's just a beer and wine license, it's like $3,500, which is fucking insane.
That's insane.
Which is, and it's not feasible for a business like theirs.
Yeah.
Where it's like, so even if you take out the idea that you want to pay the comics, we got to keep the lights on, we have to buy equipment, we have to all this kind of stuff. You know,
let them smoke weed.
Right.
Bring your joints.
No, weed shows
then you'll really laugh.
Look, I'm sure there are some weed shows that are successful.
They're not successful normally.
I went to a weed show. Me and my chick went to a weed show.
A weed show.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
What does that consist of? Like people are just smoking while they're watching it?
Is that a dispensary?
Okay.
Like
that's
a
cool.
consumption lounge.
It wasn't successful.
We got the room got so fucking stoned that we were just, and I remember, I mean, because it takes, because I haven't done a lot of mushrooms, but I've done enough to kind of rack the brain a little bit, you know? Yeah. I'm pretty confident that I have brain damage from mushrooms. But
brain damage?
Oh, yeah.
Mushrooms can't give you brain damage.
Part of the reason I want to get rich and successful.
Maybe
acid. I've never done acid.
You've never done acid?
No, I never will.
It lasts 12 hours.
Yeah, fuck that.
That's some crazy shit. Hours. It doesn't seem like 12 hours, but it lasts 12 hours.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I want to have a lot of money is I want to get the best brain scan I can ever afford.
Because you're so paranoid?
Oh yeah.
Stop.
Oh yeah, but I remember my anxiety started kicking up real bad from how much we were smoking, and then I remember we were sitting there and I'm just like this,
freaking out, not even laughing.
Just in the, I'm just in the seat.
Don't smoke too much.
Yeah. Well, because the place got hotboxed. And then the staff, that are very nice people, they're all very nice. This dude was walking around with what I can only describe as a weed fog machine to every table going like, hey, you want to get smoked out? And before he had the machine, he was asking, we were like, I was like, I'm okay. I'm sure she wants some. I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever.
Oh, no.
And then 5 minutes later, he had this Ghostbuster style fucking machine that was blowing out weed and just to every table
that sounds horrifying.
And the place, we were stoned as a rock.
Well, I don't know if everyone realizes this. Weed is considered a hallucinogen.
Oh yeah.
And I accidentally one time ate 3 THC cookies that I didn't realize were THC. I thought I was living my life in the morning, having 3 cookies with my coffee, and they were 50 milligrams each. Yeah, mind you. Mm-hmm. And I don't smoke a lot of weed, at all. So I had 150 milligrams of THC first thing in the morning, and I remember sitting there and I'm watching TV before work, and I'm like, "Am I high?" Why am I high? And I was like, oh, shit. So I called my ex, my boyfriend, my kind of husband at the time. This is weird. We didn't get legally married. This is a whole thing to explain, but we had a ceremony anyways. So I called him and I was like, were those THC cookies? And he's like, yes, those are the ones I told you never to touch because they're the devil. And I remember, I swear, I've done acid, I've done mushrooms, and I've never felt that fucked up in my entire life.
So I forget
it was terrifying.
I forget what it gets digested as, but whenever you eat edibles, the THC goes through your liver and it's 5 times as psychoactive. Right.
And imagine 150 for someone who doesn't smoke or really ever, in any way, shape, or form takes THC. And so I sat there. My dog scared the shit out of me. There are 2 pit bull Dalmatian mixes. And I was like, what are these beasts in my home?
Yeah, these abominations to God just
and they were staring at me. So confused and concerned. And I was like, get away from me. And then I was trying to make myself feel better. My ex is like, watch Adventure Time. And I put on Adventure Time. And the fucking king scared the shit out of me. I used to love Adventure Time. I will never watch it again. I'm like, this king is a freak. What am I watching? Never watch Adventure Time again. I was terrified. I had to create a theme song in my head to get to the top because I was so cold, but I couldn't walk. So I was create a theme song in order to be able to walk to the tub and get in the water and sit in the water and try to feel better. It was horrifying. I swear,
weird.
Like I said, done mushrooms, done acid. The worst one to this day was THC.
And that's why I'm terrified of taking edibles.
No, I get it. I get
terrified
it. But you
of
smoke a little bit of a joint. I know people take it too far, but that could be kind of fun to watch a comedy show high,
I mean, I will say there's been a couple of times where because for me, as far as weed goes, I'm a super lightweight because
Same.
I
need a 1 or 2 hits of a joint.
Yeah, exactly. I was never big on smoking weed growing up. Then I got into the military and I was always paranoid of getting drug tested and all that kind of stuff. So now I legit my pen that's out in the living room, I've had that for 8 months, I think.
Right.
I might take a hit before bed and crash out.
I love it.
And there's been a couple of times where I've gone down to dry heat and I'll take a hit beforehand.
Right.
And it's funny because sometimes the laughter will echo around me and I'm like,
yes.
That's funny. But it's just
I love that.
Weed is not conducive to a comedy show in my opinion, just because
you don't think so?
It kind of shuts you
Makes
down
you
a little bit.
And closed off.
The paranoia and closed off thing for sure, but it kind of just shuts down the body. It relaxes the body, and you kind of want to be.
open.
The audience wants to be, you want them like alert. You definitely want them open-minded, but you want them alert and you want them like, oh my God.
That's true. You
know what I mean? But
okay, so then alcohol is the only
booze
answer.
is the perfect answer.
So then let us have alcohol in our bags.
Yeah, exactly.
Just ignore it. Let me take a shot.
Right.
Pretend like I'm not taking a shot in the middle of the scene.
But it's funny that you say that some of the openers weren't great because that's local comedy. It was
not funny.
Yeah,
like none of them were actually.
That's
which
local
makes
comedy.
Me sad. Yeah.
Well, because part of it, there are some comics in town that are just not funny.
And honestly, that's so sad. I can't imagine that's their dream. They've worked on it.
Well, that's the thing is like for a lot of people, as I thought the same thing. And then even I had a couple of local comics on here that are my buddies, and they're fucking hilarious.
Love that.
But all they want to do is just do bar shows for the rest of their lives. And that like blew my mind. So I was just like, yo, you have it. And I've told them this both on and off the podcast. I'm not going to say who, but like on and off the podcast, I've been like, dude, I'm envious of what you. There's this one guy. Again, not going to say his name, but he gets on a mic, whether it's an open mic or a show, whether it's a bar, a club, whatever. And he gets on that mic and just before even opening his mouth, he's funny. And then he just starts, and it's just an incredible natural thing that either he's really grown or he just has. You know what I mean? But like, he's one of a couple of people where they just want to keep it at the local level. Does he smoke a lot of weed? I don't know. I was gonna say, is he just like lazy about it? I think booze is his thing for sure. Booze is definitely his thing. But booze and a little bit of skiing. But it's it's just like, I don't understand having that skill and not just like taking it as high as you can. Some people are
just not that ambitious.
Right. I agree. And that's something that I've had to like understand and learn.
That's nice too, though. Like sometimes it's nice not to just want to take everything.
My brain's not like that.
I'm not like that either. I understand.
My brain's not
but
like
I'm saying
that.
some people are just happy where they're at, and that's its own kind of peace, is what I'm saying.
I guess. I mean, there is
complacent, but peace.
Right, but there is more. That is true. Like it's like the famous quote from Spider-Man: "The great power comes with great responsibility."
That's the one. People always think I'm crazy for not liking Spider-Man. Isn't that crazy? I know your mouth is on the floor. I know. The Avengers, Spider-Man is like my least favorite. I don't know why. I know.
We can shelf that for later. We can table that. I'll keep that in the back of my head.
Sorry.
No, you're good. No, everyone's entitled to their opinion, even if it's wrong. But it's
even if it's wrong.
Even if it's wrong.
He's so lame and young, and I'm like, what are you doing? I just don't get it. Okay, fine.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
All right.
But there's that side of it where there's people that are just not good, and it is what it is, and they're not really trying. Because that guy really tries at it too, which what kind of kills me. But there's other people that like they do it for like another comic in town. He's one of the best. His name's Robert Gibson.
You have to tell me when they perform, including you.
If you want me to send you shows,
comedy shows.
I'll send you shows.
My friends
for sure.
and I will be there.
Happy to.
Seriously,
I've got your number now, so I'll send you. I'll send you the right shows for sure.
Literally.
But he put it the right way where it's like a lot of the people, and you find this whether it's a local scene that's tiny or a big one, it's just they do it as their social circle. And it's like they'll go up and do an open mic or they'll go and do a bar show to justify that they're hanging out with their other comedian friends, having some beers. And it's like their social thing. Okay, yes. Cool. Okay,
But you want them to grow.
But you want them to grow. But then also if they're doing that at a show, you then have a product of what you just described where the openers weren't that great.
Right.
So that's the one side of it. The other side of it is where I honestly fall into where it's like I've had more bombs than I've had successes for sure. But like it's something that I'm working on. We're working at.
I can imagine that's how it is.
But the ugly side of it, which is the truth, is if you're whether it's material you're brand new at working on, or you've been working on it for months or even a year or whatever, and you're brand new, because a lot of the comics in the scene right now are under 5 years. Damn. A lot of them. A lot of them are we're in 2025, so maybe under 6 years. A lot of them. So, and generally speaking, it's accepted that you don't really figure it out. You don't find your voice until 10 years in. So,
I feel like that sounds like one of the hardest things to do is to be a comedian. Put yourself out there.
It sounds very self-serving, but yes, it's
hard.
Fucking hard.
No, I understand. I agree.
Hard.
I would be horrified. I cannot imagine standing up there and trying to be funny, and then someone doesn't laugh, and then you guys do it again. Like you did not. Like you had an awkward. But you do it again. That's so brave.
That was literally me this weekend. Like
stop. No one laughed.
Well, so
what do you do? Like, do you have a cricket sound you play when nobody laughs?
No, I don't tank my own ship. Thanks God, holy fuck.
What do you do when no
That
one
might
laughs?
actually be funny. Actually,
anyways.
if you have the personality for self-deprecation, just pulling out a cricket sounds like.
Well, no one laughs.
No, because like this past week I had 3 shows, and on the first one on Tuesday was at the Block. Actually, I did because I normally do 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Generally, and
Is that normal for comedians?
for like a feature-ish like opening set where I'm at right now, because I have no like no need or no like gumption to rush it.
Right.
I have no need to. I don't want to rush to feature or rush to headlining. I want to get really good at
what makes people laugh.
Exactly. Oh, I just want to get good at hosting, which is the hardest part of comedy, which is opening a cold room. Very challenging. So I want to figure out how to do that properly, and then do like an 8 to 10 minute set, and then do feature and build up from there.
How do people do it for a whole hour and a half?
Well, like, it's like building a Lego set. Like, you don't just have the thing; you have the pieces,
slowly,
and you just.
You know who I think is so interesting that does it the way he does it is oh God, I forgot his name. The tall, older black guy that's the comedian. The really famous
Chappelle?
Yes, thank you, Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
God, I was having a brain fart. He does it so slowly and so just takes his time.
He's my goat.
What is it about him that makes him so interesting to watch, even though he takes his time? I've never seen anything like this before.
Well, for me,
is it the respect we all have for him?
Well, there is that came later in the career, but like from looking at exactly that, he's a huge reason why I got into stand-up in the first place. Like, my uncle showed me Chappelle's show when I was way too young. And way too young. And because obviously you've seen Chappelle's show, right?
Yeah.
So he starts out with doing a little bit of stand-up, goes into the sketch comedy, and then ends it with a hip-hop artist. And so that's what really got me into stand-up and to hip-hop. And
that's where it started? That's so
oh,
cool.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was so funny.
I love watching his shows.
It's like him and then Jeff Dunham got me into stand-up. If you know who Jeff Dunham is.
Yes.
Yeah, the puppets and shit like that. Yeah.
Yes.
So with Chappelle, he's clearly a guy that has a natural talent for storytelling and keeping your attention and just being naturally likable. Like,
but
he
even
obviously
when he's
has always had that.
Right. I normally get so bored.
And so as he builds in his career, like, he's a very good storyteller, but like his last couple of Netflix specials, like, he has that joke, I think either in his last one or the second to last one, he has that joke about meeting Jim Carrey. And then he turns it into a transgender joke.
Right.
Right? That's like a 2.5 minute build up. That's a story. But the punchline is so hard that everyone in that room just dies because it's A, funny joke, and B, it's commenting on all the anti-trans hate that he was getting before that special came out.
Right.
So he knew he
just knows what to do.
Yeah, he's so very calculated, and he understands how to. In storytelling in general, where it's like his cadence, the inflection of his voice, his mannerisms, how to move his like facial muscles, his body language, just everything is so calculated and fine-tuned. It's a really great math formula that pumps out the right answer every time.
I've just never seen anything like that before, where they're just like slow and like pausing and like smoking a cigarette and just doing whatever they want, and it's still entertaining to watch. I'm like, what is happening? You know who I don't think is funny, and that everyone
I know who you're gonna say, but go ahead, Matt Rife.
No, Kevin Hart.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
He's not that funny.
Yeah. So if you want to see,
he never listens to his podcast.
Hey, Kevin, if you're listening, I got a solid 5 to 8 minutes, and I will open up your fucking anything. I'll suck it, dude. Like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I'll suck it. Like, it's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah.
Oh my God, we're so sorry. I feel like everyone thinks he's so funny, and I think he writes too much on the fact that now he's like funny and a comedian, so and I feel like he's not really using his talents anymore. Do you feel this?
Kinda like he. It's like the saying where it's like every person has their price. And I think
he has his audience.
I think it's but then I think it's also like you get comfortable. Like, okay, so here's a good analogy. Conor McGregor, right? That dude rising through the UFC was
I don't know anything about that world.
Well, he was undeniable.
Okay.
And I don't know a whole lot either. I know a little bit, but like
Okay.
that guy going through the UFC was undeniable. He was beating everybody, and he started out, and I think like a lightweight, and then he like stayed in lightweight for a bit, and then like ventured into middleweight towards the end. But he was just this monster where you knew that when watching his fight, not only was he going to win, the style in which he was going to win, his personality at the press conferences, like he was hungry. He was this poor guy from Ireland. Like he started as like his first, I think like 8 years in like training and like beginning his fighting career. He was a janitor. And his wife had like 2 jobs, or girlfriend that became a wife had 2 jobs. They were super poor.
That's so beautiful.
And he just grew into this monster of a fighter where he was just demolishing everybody, just beating the fuck out of everybody. But then, he lost to Khabib. And then I think after the Khabib fight is when he had... I think it went Khabib fight, and then it went into his boxing match with Mayweather. So he fights Floyd Mayweather, and boxing is at the high level is where the crazy money is at, because that's like backed by the Saudis and
wow.
the WBC has a ton of money, and and so he goes into that fight with a guaranteed like 80 million or something.
80 million?
Yeah, like 50 or 80 million. Something. What? Yeah, something
Are
crazy.
Are we in the wrong? Like,
yeah.
Do we do boxing?
Yeah. I loved boxing when I was doing that in college, but like I was like,
God, 80 million.
Yeah.
Why do they even continue? Just have one fight and call it a day.
Exactly. So he gets done with that Mayweather fight. I think he walked away. Maybe he like walked in with 80 or 50 million and he walked away with 80, I think. But he leaves that, creates his whiskey company, Proper 12, gets a ton of money from that, loses the first Dustin Poirier fight, and then the second Poirier fight, I think, is where he broke his leg. And from there, it's always like, when's Conor going to fight again? When's he going to fight again? And he's a big partier. He's clearly on a little bit of Mexican supplements. He's a big cokehead, obviously. Then he got into the scandal with cheating on his wife. Then he's getting into the scandal right now with sexual assault. And so, like, he's getting into a lot of personal issues. But even if he didn't get into all of that, he got comfortable with the money. After he broke his leg, he probably realized that, like, hey, I have generational wealth. I think it's like 2 or 3 kids. They'll never have to work. They're going to go to the best schools. They're going to have the best health care. They're going to have the best environment to grow up in. Why do I need to keep risking my life? Because, MMA is very, like, it's not a safe sport at all.
Right.
It's safer than boxing, but it's not a safe sport. So why do I have to risk getting my face crushed in if I've got, I think his net worth something retarded like 250 million? Oh yeah, he's stupid rich. So it's like, why do I have to risk all of that if I can just, all right, I'm Conor McGregor. So then you apply that to Kevin Hart. That dude, if you want to watch some of Kevin Hart's best stuff, do you have HBO Max?
I used to. I can get it back. I got bored with it.
So that's my favorite streaming service. Granted, it has all the DC comic stuff on it, but it has Def Comedy Jam from the 90s. Kevin Hart's on a few of those. That dude is fucking hungry. Like, that dude goes out there. He only has like maybe 15 minutes, I think, on a set. 15, 20 minutes. Funny. And he's just fucking
his specials, especially during COVID, when he was in his basement or something, I was like, what am I watching?
I never saw those.
You never saw how iffy
that was.
It wasn't funny.
His first like 3 or 4 specials, I adore. Because that dude is so charismatic.
They're the best.
He's a performer. And he's great, but then like when he transitioned into movie star Kevin Hart, and even like, I take that back, like even when he was in Scary Movie 3, he was fucking hilarious.
But I think there's something where they reach their goal and then they're like, and they get
complacent.
Done. Yeah,
and it happens. But
and I think
you can't take away from the career that he has.
No,
How
and
funny
he's tried it for so, like, he has done his best for so long. I'm sure at a certain point you've got to come to this place.
He put out 4 Jumanji movies with The Rock, and you're like, hey, wait a minute.
I'm done. Yeah, he cuddled me. It's over.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest to do it, I think.
Yeah,
but
just not funny anymore.
But somebody that makes it enduring, like a Chappelle, is
he's still doing it.
Well, they never got swept away with the Hollywood. You know what I mean?
He didn't
And in fact, when he got close to getting swept away with Hollywood, he left the industry. And that's why I fucking love that guy so much. Is he after season like 2 or whatever, there's a Chappelle show. He went to fucking Africa.
He doesn't subscribe to those.
Well, everyone thought he lost his mind.
Yeah.
But then he came back. He's like, no, I didn't lose my fucking mind.
Actually, if he lost his mind, he would subscribe to all that.
Yeah, he was like, no, I got sick of you people yelling fucking Rick James, bitch, at my face every day.
Yeah.
And he literally talks about this where he was like, I was sick of people coming up to me at Disneyland with my kids. And then he left.
Fame seems psychotic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he came back, and like one of my favorite things Chappelle's ever put out was right after the George Floyd incident happened.
I remember that.
The 823.
Yes.
That is one of my favorite things he's ever put out, because it wasn't a comedy thing. It was this like one of the funniest men to ever live doing something so serious.
Yeah. Deep. Yeah. So meaningful.
Where I was like, oh, yeah, that's Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
That's
I agree.
David whoever Chappelle. That is him. And so, like, that's why he's on the top. Like, that's why he lives amongst, like, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, Sam Kinison. You know, that's why he lives amongst those greats, because he transcends. He's not just a comedian. He's a storyteller. He's a like borderline philosopher, like on a real 100%. Sense. Like on a real sense.
100%. Actually, it's so funny. Again, going back to Tinder.
Yeah.
My thing on there is like, I don't remember which question it was. It was like, oh, the way to my heart was intellectual conversations about psychology, philosophy, and astrology. And so many men are like, what do you want to talk about philosophy? I'm like, hit me. What do you know about philosophy? And I think like philosophy is so interesting to talk about, because there's just, people don't really, not a lot of people are open-minded like that. Not a lot of people think in that sense. And I think that's why people like Dave Chappelle are so special, because people just don't, and you would think they would. Why is that? Like, why is that such a rare thing? That makes me sad for our generation and just world in general. Why is that so rare?
In a short sense, I think it's because it's uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable.
You know what I mean? Because I forget what star sign you assign to it, but But I think a lot of people have it's a human issue. I really think that people have a hard time, and I had a problem with this for a long time.
Yeah,
people have a hard time admitting they're wrong.
No, totally.
You don't want to be wrong.
No,
especially
so philosophy is admitting you're wrong. Is that what you think?
Well, I think philosophy is not necessarily admitting you're wrong. I think not that I'm a philosopher, but like I think that.
That makes you a philosopher. Saying you're not a philosopher.
Well, remove that from the equation. I think the human experience is you need to absorb as much of humanity as humanly possible
100%.
Without losing your mind.
100%. I love doing that.
Yeah, without giving into complete and total madness, like on a real sense. And I think that involves meeting people that you don't normally associate with. I think that involves psychedelics. I think that involves a lot of study, which I try to do my best on, but I'm not great about it. But I think you need to absorb as much humanity as humanly possible.
I agree.
And in doing that, I mean, that's why, like, I think... So the best way that I've heard like comic books and superheroes assigned to American culture is that it's American mythology, right? And I think that why it's so resonating with people is it's the same reason why the Greeks and the Romans had their gods, is we project ourselves onto these larger than life characters, and because they always make the right decisions, right? Like some like Captain America, Superman, Spider-Man. I know you don't like him very much, but Spider-Man. They, in the face of adversity, they make the right decision. And you hope that when faced with adversity in your own life, you will make the right decision, but you know that you don't all the time. And that's why it's so interesting when like an evil Superman, what does that mean? Oh, an evil Batman or an evil whoever, it's like, oh, well, what does that mean? And then how do they get redeemed? Because if they don't get redeemed, they're no longer that character, right? So the reason I bring that up is humans have a habit of projecting themselves onto larger than life things because they know that not always, but we tend to make the wrong decisions, whether it's in business, friendship, relationships. Life is messy. Life gets messy. Whether it's you unknowingly hurt somebody, you knowingly hurt somebody, and it's that second one that really fucks with people. Because I mean, I know for me growing up, like, not that I was out knowingly hurting people or anything like that, but like I had a real issue. I was very entrenched in my beliefs, and I was really entrenched in like, I'm always right. No, I'm the right person. I'm this and the other. Right. And I was engaged at an early age. I got engaged when I was
literally engaged?
I was 19. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I thought you meant engaged in life. Oh yeah, that's
cool. I proposed to my first major girlfriend when I was 19. Oh yeah.
Wild.
Because I thought that was it.
Yeah.
But then when that split up, and she certainly fucked that relationship pretty well too, but I made a lot of issues as well. A lot of them. And that was my first like brush with like, oh yeah, dude, you're not the main character. Like, and also you can make mistakes too, and you've made mistakes. How do you learn from? How do you just don't keep making those and get better from there? And so,
do you know how special that is to even think that? So many people don't think that way. How can I stop these mistakes and do better?
Like the whole like breaking the cycle thing.
No, yeah.
So then you ask like, why do people not want to be open-minded? It's because in the process of doing that, you then realize you're not as good as you think you are, you're not as right as you think you are, and you're not as smart as you think you are. And I think there's a hierarchy for like what's more important. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the smartest in the room, or I'm the best. I'll be the smartest, but I'm the best. And it's like most people are none of those things. Mm-hmm. And if you are the smartest in the room, you should probably go to a different room. And if you're the best in the room, you should probably go to a different. You should always be around people that want to make you better.
Right.
My point is people don't want to be wrong. And
that's why they don't want to be philosophers.
Well, not even that. They just don't want to. I mean, some of it's growth, maybe.
It's also the delusion. It's hard to like push past the delusion that you create for yourself. Yeah. I think a lot of people live within that delusion. I honestly am envious of that because I wish I was a little more delusional. I'm really dead serious. I wish I had some delusion within me. I don't. I have zero delusions, okay?
But you just said earlier that you don't like being told no.
But I don't. But then I pick people who tell me no. That's the whole point. But that's the whole point. It's like, don't tell me no. You're going to tell me no. Okay, I'm going to keep talking to you. Because if you actually tell me no, I'm going to stop talking to you. What am I learning from that? Yeah. What am I learning from that, right? Like, it's like, I want you not to tell me no, but if you tell me no, I'm like, well, I'm not going to grow from this. What's going on? And I think, like, I wish, actually, this Scorpio boy, man, person was like, I've never met a more interesting person because you're like the most organized, chaotic ride, like roller coaster ride, which in the sense that you're so like love life, and you're so like, I love magic. I really do. This is why I believe in zodiacs, and like, not that I'm saying zodiacs is magical. It actually is a thing, but whatever.
Means it's a sleight of hand, which means it's not really existing, it means it's not real.
Whatever. Yeah, it's perfectly real.
Hey, you shit on Spider-Man. I'm gonna come for your moon.
I'm okay with it. Come at me. I'm gonna come for your moon. And so, like, I think that there's a level of me that I believe in all those things, but I'm also such a realist, and I'm also so like, you know, I'm just not delusional. I wish I really was, and that's what he meant. He's like, I've never met anybody like this, where it's like, you're magical and you believe in magic, but you're also such a realist, and you believe in, like, you know, you're not logical. You are logical. You don't believe in delusions in that sense. And I've always surprised myself in that way. I think most people that I see have a very large amount of delusion in their lives. And I think that I envy that a little bit, because when you have a certain amount of delusion, you can even achieve more because you believe in it. You don't think so?
So
I've seen that.
So I do have a question for you off of that, but I think there's two versions of delusion. There's it's just like everything else in life. Yes. There's a unhealthy and a healthy delusion.
Healthy delusion, like not an unhealthy delusion. But healthy.
Right. Well, there is a healthy delusion is okay. It's like, so obviously you're very well entrenched in the social media space. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get better at stand-up comedy. let's just break that, like the comedy thing, break that down from a very logical level. Okay, so you think is comedian A or wannabe comedian A, this archetype of somebody who thinks they can be good enough to be one day a big stand-up comedian. Okay, so you think that you're good enough that you have the ability to speak in front of people, which when I think it was like in 2022 when polled was, it shows you how great fucking America has it, to be honest with you. The number one fear in Americans is public speaking. Okay, so you think you're good enough to speak in public. Let's assume you have that, which is insane, statistically insane. Then not only are you going to speak in front of people, you're going to make them laugh.
Yep.
How hard is it to make your friends laugh sometimes? Your intimate space of people, your friends, your family, like that could be challenging to make them laugh. They know you the best, and you can't even make them laugh. How the
make
fuck
everybody laugh. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I have no doubt about
I
that.
see what you're saying.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? So it's like, okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
now,
really hard.
So
Yeah.
it's a challenge for you to make them laugh. Now you're going to try to make these strangers laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, now you have to walk up there with prepared material or a prepared brain, because now a lot of people want like crowd work comedy. So it's like either way, you have to be prepared in a way to make these people laugh from anywhere from, if you're at a professional comedy show at a club, 10 to 70 minutes.
That's wild.
That's your
70
spectrum.
minutes is wild.
I will say this, I saw Christopher Titus at Casadas. That motherfucker ripped 95 minutes of just gold.
How do you do that?
I have no
How?
idea.
That's just magic.
Just fucking murdered. Anyway, so say 10 to 70 minutes, you want to make these people laugh. Okay, sounds good. And then, even if you're not successful at that last part, you're going to then turn around night after night, year after year, just getting beaten down by boos, silence, heckles, people mad that you're talking about a thing that's sensitive to them. You're staying at your, and then in the quiet moments where you're writing your material, thinking about your material, going to open mics, whatever, all this stuff. You think you're good enough to do all of that, and then you wait, we haven't talked about money yet. You want to make money doing this? You think you're marketable?
That's a beautiful kind of delusion, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the healthy delusion. Is you have to maintain that, thinking, you know what, I can do all of that and more. That's the healthy delusion. The unhealthy,
Even a little bit of an unhealthy delusion.
you need that. No. You need that. No. If you're doing anything creative, you need that 110%.
I don't have that. That's what I lack.
Oh, I disagree.
You think?
Oh, I disagree.
You're so delusional.
No. I would no.
Wow.
Okay, so not to be rude,
No,
but
please,
but why do you think people care about your opinion on different food spaces?
I actually don't. I literally just started doing it, and
why
then
do you put it on social media?
because people kept responding. It's taken me so long to even like do it. Like I've done it for the last 2 years,
Right.
on and off.
But wait, okay, the 2 years is not a long, not a
It's
short
kinda
amount.
long.
No, it's not a short amount of time.
Right, but like doing it and people responding, I'm like, oh, people care. Okay, I have a lot of
But I'd imagine you see longevity in that, and seeing
don't know if I see
in social media in
longevity.
general. Really?
I don't know where social media is going to go the next couple of years. I'm curious to see if it's even going to.
Are you optimistic?
I'm optimistic.
That means you're delusional.
Okay, then I'm delusional.
But it's good.
No,
but it's
in a
good.
good
It's
way.
healthy.
Yes.
You need
No, I
that
agree.
because what's the other option? Is that
I just wish I was more delusional in life. Like I think I'm just like too much of a realist in some ways, but also I believe in magic, and I think that's what makes me delusional. 'Cause
but
I
the
believe in magic.
but the unhealthy part of it is like unhealthy delusion is having, how do I put this? It's like having an unrealistic outlook on yourself. That's all that really.
That's what you mean by unhealthy.
Yeah, that's all that really
Okay.
matters. Is because like how you, I really do think is like how you see yourself, or how you fail to see yourself, is really important on how you like interact with the world. Because we all know these people that are like overconfident, or they're just an asshole, and you're like, there's no way he or
do
she
you think
is
that?
actively doing this. Like, how are they? And maybe they are. Like, you definitely have those people where it's like, damn, all right, you believe that, that's cool, whatever. I just have to associate. But a lot of people, especially like, in their early, like, let's say in their 20s, maybe into their like early 40s, like, there's no way, dude. Like, come on, what's going on?
I would say unhealthy delusion more to, so I see what you're saying, 100% true, But I saw it more as like life, like day to day, like if your relationship isn't going right and you're not honest about it, or like those daily just being honest with yourself where you're going wrong and like you don't see why you need therapy. Like I see delusion in that sense.
That's not delusion. That's willful ignorance.
It is also willful, 100%.
Because we said with a relationship where it's like it's going wrong, but
But everything though, like it's just like you can't see yourself. Like it's just this delusional world where you have no self-awareness and you just can't see beyond yourself to realize where you're going wrong. And I kind of envy those people because I have zero, like I will pick myself apart at every turn when something happens because to me, I'm like, there's two sides to every story. What did I do wrong? That's like literally my first thought. Yeah. And I think like it also comes from, what is the word? Excuse my learning English at 17 and I have a brain fart and forget words, but it's like that term where you, even if you succeed, you can't believe in yourself. Like celebrities that are like successful now.
Oh, imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Thank you so much.
You're extremely well articulated, by the way.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, literally my brain at learning a language at 17, you can't keep all the words in. Thank you. It's the Gemini thing. Mark my words. I will prove him wrong. But Geminis are very articulate and they're very good with their words. So I feel like I will always have imposter syndrome. And it comes from like, my mom and the way she raised me. She was an incredible mom, but she was, no matter what we did, it wasn't right. And I'm glad she did that. Now everything we do is perfect. She confuses us. I'm like, what? I thought I was wrong at everything. I don't understand what's happening. And she's like, no, you're perfect. Yeah. No, like, whatever you do is perfect. I'm like, you're confusing me. I don't know. But it comes from that. And I will always wonder, am I wrong? Am I being delusional? Am I making a wrong choice? Am I being even arguing with somebody or making choices, I always wonder where I'm wrong.
That's healthy.
That's so healthy.
No,
it's hard.
That is so healthy. Because think about it like this. My challenge would be if you were delusional, say you wish you were, so you were delusional, where does that end?
I think this is what I've seen and I'm paying attention to it because it's interesting to me. Psychology in general is. And I think it's just like they get their way a lot more. I've just noticed that. They get their way. And I know deep down they're not, like I'm sure they have their battles and like things aren't what they seem behind closed doors. I'm just saying, especially out in the open, it seems like they get their way so much more than somebody who's like tripping over themselves and wondering what.
Define get their way.
Just like from the outside, everything looks great.
And you see how bad that is, though, right?
Yes, I do.
Because inside,
I just wish I had more of a balance. I'm too real.
Well, it's like, what are they achieving though? Where are they going in life? What are they going to do? And then you have.
But what if delusion is all they want? It's like the out image is all they want.
Well, it's hollow.
No, it is, and my therapist told me that.
You want to take and bite into a sandwich, and there's nothing inside of it.
I know. My therapist told me that because I'm like, I hate being so self-aware. It's exhausting. She's like, but you live an authentic life, and I was like, I know, but living an authentic life is exhausting.
But you get real results out of it.
I know. I will say that I more than anything, my life seems so hard, and like honestly, my whole family, we talk about this all the time. Like our life is like the things that have happened to us is so wild, and like my mom could write a book, I could write a book. Like the darkness of some of the things that have happened to us is truly, truly, truly wild. Like I can't imagine people. I'm sure there's so many people that have gone through more than me, but I'm just saying that I feel like we've gone through so much in life, and it would be nice to just have like a cushy life a little bit, and like not like I know my therapist says this all the time. She's like, this is the authenticity. And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I have two responses to that. The first one is, it's one of my favorite quotes from Rogan, where it's, the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Yeah. And I think that comparing yourself to other people's hardships or their successes is kind of, it has maybe like in the success realm being like, oh, look what they've accomplished. Maybe I can get there one day if I work hard enough. That's a positive thing. But saying, oh, my life isn't that hard because this has happened to other people. It's like, well, the hardest thing that's happened to you, or the worst that's happened is the worst thing that happened to you. And I don't mean to undercut my argument from earlier when I was talking about men need to man up, because men are the fucking, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, they are the foundation of successful societies. You need strong men. You need men.
And women.
You do. No, you do. But who's going to go fight the war? Who's going to go build?
Who's going to raise your children?
Exactly. No, I agree. No. I agree. It's a yin and a yang. Well, it's a yin and a yang. But when the fucking Mongolians are at the gate, you're not going to send your best women.
I don't know.
No, the fuck you're not. When North Korea drops their best, you're not going to send your influencers. You're going to send your fucking men. You're going to send your violent...
If men cease to exist, women can figure it out, is all I'm saying. But if women cease to exist, you guys are fucked. But if you guys cease to exist, we'll figure it out.
If women cease to exist...
Men are fucked.
You're going to have a lot of chafe dicks or gay dudes.
Well, you guys are fucked. I rest my case. Like literally
but you get my point, right? It's the worst thing that's happened to you is the worst thing that's happened to you, and your perspective is your own. So, comparing it to other people's, like, oh, they've had it worse.
It's not even comparing. I just wish I had a little more delusion, is what I'm saying.
I don't think it serves you, though.
Interesting. Like,
I don't think it.
I told you, I just have zero delusion.
Good.
And I wish I had a little more delusion.
Because I'm the same way. No, I'm the same exact way.
You don't wish you had a little more delusion?
No. I'm very realist.
Sometimes I'm just like, I don't even think, this is weird, and I hope no one thinks is like, I think I'm anything. I don't. I'm just saying that sometimes my clients will be like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Like, what are you talking about? Your body is so perfect. And I literally have like imposter syndrome with everything. I don't think I'm pretty. I don't think I have a good body. Like everything. No, I swear to you on my mom's life, I'm not kidding. This is what I mean. I wish I had more delusion.
So let's dig into that a little bit.
It comes from trauma.
Well, okay, I was going to say how much of that is life experience, and then how much of it is social media.
It's not social media.
Well, here's why I say social media though. So, do you remember in like I think it was 21 or 22 when the Facebook files came out? So So basically, what had happened is there was a Facebook whistleblower. And she went before Congress and this congressional panel.
Okay.
And she was talking about all of these things, all these records they had about selling data to like different countries and all these things that Facebook was doing. But one of the bigger things that came out of that I wish got a lot more media attention was Facebook actually had data recording women using their platform from the ages of 13 to I think 26-ish, where they were able to track women in these demographic who were getting greatly affected by anorexia because of what they were seeing on social media due to unrealistic standards and body standards and beauty standards and all that stuff. Do you think because like Instagram came out in 2011, 12 ish, right? So that's 13 years ago. Right. Yeah. So you're like, so for you, that's your early 20s.
No, mine wasn't about that. I got bullied in Germany because I had a bigger butt. No, I'm serious. I lived in a white town.
So you don't think social media had any impact on you?
I literally have.
That's unique.
Yeah.
That's very unique.
Because I have body. So, okay, this is what happened. I was really young, like 10 years old, 11 years old, and had a butt already. And this like German dude kept bullying me, like in my tiny little town. Everyone was white. And like I got beat up at one point by these girls because I had a butt. Not even joking.
And you're like middle school?
It was crazy.
Ish.
Yes. And then after, like, I loved winter. I'm actually so sad. I love spring, but then I'm like so torn because actually right before here I went to Smith's. That was kind of ghetto, like on around downtown. I don't know where.
Yale.
And
Yale.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was so glad I had my long jacket in my car and I put it on. I'm like, I'm gonna miss winter. And so like I love long jackets still to this day because I could wear them during winter and no one would make fun of me. So I would walk up the stairs and these boys would make fun of my butt. And I always thought it was disgusting. And we moved to California, San Diego. I really did. Because they make fun of me. It was horrible.
No, it's funny because you moved to California.
I did move to California.
Where it's like a society flip.
That's what happened. The culture shock was psychotic. And then I went to a high school in San Diego. And the hottest men in high school were like, you're hot. And I'm hot here? What is happening? It was the most confusing...
That's strange.
It is very strange to go through. It was so strange. I think that's where the imposter syndrome comes from, is that. Because going from like my mom too, right? Like nothing you do is right to everything you do is right to like you're literally disgusting to you're the hottest girl. It's like, what's happened? What are you guys doing to me? Like it was so confusing. And when people are like, you're so down to earth, I'm like, thanks, I have a lot of trauma. That's what it is. I have trauma.
So I do kind of want to segue back into like your upbringing a little bit.
Yeah.
So you leave Iran, you go to Germany, and you're 8 years old?
Yes.
And how long were you in Germany for?
10 years. Well, 9 years, almost 10 years. 17 years old is when we left.
Okay. And what part of Germany were you in?
Again, a really, really, really small town,
Right.
about an hour from Frankfurt. The nearest town was called Gießen. The town we lived in was Homburg. Oh, tiny. Literally, you could walk the whole thing.
And so let's talk about like why, because I know we already explained a little bit about how your mom wanted to get a divorce. And was that was it like a logistical reason of why she went there? Like that was like the easiest flight? Like literally not just easy, like as in money,
there.
but like, okay, so you had friends there. Okay.
And then when we moved there, it was actually really traumatic. I've had a really traumatic life, I'm telling you. But when we moved there, so Germany, as I guess it is everywhere else, it's really hard to get citizenship. And one of the things that was a thing back in the day, I don't know if it's still a thing or not, was that they really care for children. So the way that my mom's friends did it was send their kids, their one child, I think they did it to their son too, but I'm not 100% sure, to this like almost orphanage. And so when you get sent to an orphanage, the government takes over and makes sure that you're going to be good. So when we moved there,
they sent their kid first?
No, they were also in Germany, but they were illegal there. They were not like reporting they were in Germany. They just
they made it kids. There. Yeah.
And so my mom did the same thing because in Germany there are situations where, so we were sent to an orphanage by my mom for 6 months. We were supposed to be there for a lot longer. And it was so hard and traumatic. I have no memories. I have like bits of memories for like maybe 3 flashback memories, not really like long term. I have literally no memories of how I learned German, nothing. And so when she was like, I can't do this anymore, she wanted to pull us out within 6 months. It was supposed to be a lot longer. The government got with her, the people that were supporting us, and they're like, we don't care if you have money. We just want to make sure you can take care of these kids. Just tell us. We will not tell the government. Like, that's how intensely they are. Who is
saying this to you?
The government, the part of the government that takes care of the children. They did an interview with my mom and said, hey, we don't care if you have money. Because technically, like, it's like she was going to ask for money. So it's like, she can't be honest that she has money. They're like, we don't care if you have money. We just want to make sure these kids are going to be okay to release the custody back to you.
What
we were
year
in an
is
orphanage. This? 2000, let's see. Oh gosh, I'm bad at math. I'm 34. I was 8. What is that? 34 minus 8. Thank you. Please.
I have my
We're
phone
going to
right
use our
somewhere.
calculator. We don't know.
I have my phone right here somewhere.
We can't do math.
So, yeah.
34 minus 8.
So 26.
26 years ago.
Okay.
And so
99.
Yes.
Okay.
And then my mom was like, yes, I have money. I just want the back. And we were really glad. You know, my sister was like only 4 years old. And I, again, just blacked out moments of like, it was so hard. It really, really, really was. And like there was a guy there that was so there was always an adult there because there was a bunch of children basically.
Yeah.
And you shared rooms. So my sister and I shared rooms, thankfully, because it was only 2 kids at each room. And there was this one guy there that was actually like kind of sexually even harassing, not like super crazy, but touching, like doing weird shit. And that's a part of why I don't remember some of it is like, I don't even know what he was doing. And hopefully nothing to my little 4-year-old sister. Like it got dark and it was really hard. It was a beautiful home. It was just a dark space.
Yeah, I was going to ask, were you guys like in a facility?
It's a house. It was a literal beautiful large house full of rooms.
Damn.
A kitchen, everything. Yeah, they had a cleaning lady. They had a cook. It was like I'm not saying, oh my God, it was so hard because there was cooks and like it was like nicer. But because they care about children that much. But I'm just saying the trauma of being taken away from your mom and like having a little sister to take care of and all this stuff. It was a lot. Yeah. And so then my mom was like, no, I can't do this. I don't care if we can't make it work and we have to go back to Iran. Fuck this. Like, I want my kids back. And so she tried to get us back and she was able to. But we were sent to this like motel, which people who live there get sent to. And there was a family with children, multiple children who were born there. We're there for 10 years. One room. I kid you fucking not. One giant room in a motel without a bathroom. Like, wrap your head around that for a second. And like, they were deported. We were there for about 6 months. We had 2 rooms, 2 little rooms. And my mom made it so fun, by the way. She was so cute. She made one like a kitchen and living room and one like a bedroom and put all of our beds, and we like had a whole thing going on. But it was 2 separate motel rooms. It was an old motel. They turned into that. But like, the family that was there for 10 years with children that were born there was deported. Like, that's how difficult it is. So my mom knew what she was doing and had us. That's how she got us, because within 6 months they gave us approval. So you can't get a house unless you're approved in Germany. So they gave us approval to get a house. And so then we did. We got a home, and yeah, she was a badass. She got a pizzeria going. Like, after that, everything calmed down. But
and what, while this is all happening, what legal status are you guys under?
oh, like basically waiting to see what's going to happen.
Okay.
Because if you live in a motel, it means you don't know what's going on yet. Because once they approve like you getting a home, it's not like here where you just can be illegal and get a house. It's just not how it works. No, like, no offense. That's cool. I love that for everybody. I wish.
I don't, but you know.
I know, but I do. That's cool. You know, to each their own. But we couldn't. I've been there. Like, that's hard.
Okay, so that's great. That's funny. Okay, so how long from living in a motel and your mother opening up the pizzeria, how long until you guys end up getting any kind of, did you get citizenship status?
Yes, towards the end we did. We lived there about 10 years.
And I was asking because I know you said you lived there for 10 years, but I just wonder if there's like, because there's people here in America that
lived there a long time,
get like a green card for a very long time without getting a citizenship until that time comes. So how long were you guys in that waiting status until you got, like, what's the next step?
I was really young. I don't remember the exact. I just know once she got approval for like the housing, it kind of just like expedited, and then she got the citizenship, and she was just so cool. I can't imagine 29 years old and doing this with 2 girls. I truly can't imagine.
When did you start speaking to your mom about this experience? Like, from an adult level, when did you start having these kind of conversations?
We've always kind of, like, since I was little, I would ask her these questions. Actually, my mom one time was like, stop asking these questions. Your life's going to be hard. Because when I was little, I would just ask her these deep questions. Why is life like this? And she's like, stop doing that. I'm like, oh, well, now I'll do it more. Because why are you telling me not to? But my mom is always just trying to, like, protect us. And I've always just been like, why is life hard? What's happening? What's going on? You know? And she's just such a protector, and she created such a cool life for us, honestly. She's badass. Like, I can't imagine. She's like a lioness. She really is.
Was there ever a time when, maybe into your late teens and your 20s, when you guys sat down and was like, hey, this is what was going on at the time? I
knew all of it. My mom's always kind of been open. She even moved us to Germany illegally, which is why she did it the way that she did, which was like to send us to like an orphanage. I remember I actually hate airports and flying because of that, because my first memory is like her being like, sit here, take care of your sister, don't move, like, because it was illegal, what she did. And the first time she tried to do it illegally, the guy disappeared. Like, literally, she gave him the equivalent of, I think she said it was like $200,000 to do this. And then she went to the office to check, and he was missing. Everything in the office was missing.
So at the time, how old are you?
Like 6 or 7.
Yes,
yeah, she just started this. Yeah.
So say it's like the late 90s. Your mother found somebody to get you across, get you out of the country via airport. You talked about how your mother was very poor because of where she was in Iran, and both the man that she was married to. How in the world do you even get that kind of...
Her family. Her dad, like my mom's side is really wealthy.
Okay.
So that's where they her dad gave her the money.
So I guess with the class system going on, so it's strictly just like who you marry into, not even your family? How does that...
In some ways, yes. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that her dad wanted her out of there. Her dad was amazing. I just want a husband like him, by the way. He was just perfect. Did everything my grandma said. That's a whole other conversation.
Wait. You want to get told no, but also a guy that'll do
I'm
everything.
confusing. I know. I'm aware. Okay. Tell me no, but do what I say. I'm self-aware enough to know why this is confusing. Find the balance. Tell me no when you should tell me no, and if I'm seem intense, do what I say.
That's
simple.
fair. That's fair.
But I feel like it's that. Sometimes I'm like, what's the difficulty here? Just do what I say.
That's reasonable.
When I'm upset.
Anyway, so mother family is wealthy. Father is able to
pay for it.
it, and then
Lost
they
that
show
money.
up. Okay.
The guy's gone. She had to start it all over again. I'm shocked she left. This is a very rare occurrence. Like, to leave to begin with is a rare occurrence.
Right.
Let alone doing it and being wrong and then doing it again and getting out. It's really rare. She's amazing. She literally saved us. I can't imagine where I'd be if we were still out there.
Yeah.
Because we were not wealthy.
I would even say that the more horrific side of that is you can kind of, now with how we are in 2025 and you can see into other countries, you might be able to see where you'd be at by now.
100%. Because even like my family who's wealthy is struggling now. That's how bad Iran's gotten.
Yeah.
That people who are wealthy and well off are even struggling.
Yeah. So you make it to Germany, you're living in the motel, she owns a pizzeria, you end up getting the housing. What is that like? Like, where are you guys living? What type of house?
Just an apartment. It was a cute little apartment. She got an Audi. We had a really good life out there, honestly.
Okay.
Like, I got bullied, obviously, a lot in school.
Yeah, what was the integration like? Because how long did it remind me one more time, how long did it take you to go from you're 7 years old going there, you get housing, now you start entering the school system. How old are you?
Right away, because
Right away,
in the
okay.
orphanage, we were already put in school.
Oh, interesting.
I just don't have any memories of it, which
Right,
is
right,
wild. But yeah, I don't have any memories of that. But like, we were put into the schooling system right away. But the thing was that because I didn't speak German and I was older, Germans do this where they put you back a few years. And so they put me back first grade. So I was already at like 8, so like 2 years or so back. And then we moved to America and they were like, you don't have any transcripts. And in San Diego, they put me in freshman classes and I was already like 17 years old.
Right.
And then we moved to New Mexico and I was already like 18 or 19 and I was like a sophomore, junior. And I was like, kill me now. And this teacher was like, have you ever heard of a GED? And I'm like, no, because other countries don't have GED. Like, I don't know if all countries, Germany and Iran don't have GEDs.
Right.
So she's like, have you ever heard of a GED? And I was like, what is that? Like, depressed, like with these freaking 15-year-olds. I'm like, what is, kill me. Just literally shoot me.
So, okay, let's go back to Germany.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to learn German?
Again, I don't remember
Okay,
the
that's
first
fair.
few, and then by the time I remembered, I knew German. I'm really good at languages.
Can you still speak German?
I'm losing it. I mean, we've been here for like almost 20 years, and I have no one to speak German to. I spoke it completely fluently. We went to school there.
Well, you would
like,
have
it was
to,
my
I'd
whole
imagine.
life.
Yeah.
Right. But I have been thinking about reading a book or watching a movie or something in German to get it back. I still speak 100% Farsi.
Can I recommend a movie to you?
Yeah, in German?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Is it scary? Is it funny?
No,
Is
it's
it
very
funny?
sad. It's
Oh my
and
God. Is it
I
like
know.
Blue Valentine?
No.
It's not that sad?
It's an A24 movie. It's called oh my God, I'm losing it. It's called Triangle of. It's during World War II.
Okay. I don't love like war movies, but I'll watch it just for the language.
Let's see, World War II. It is called Zone of Interest. Sorry.
Okay.
Zone of Interest. So it's completely in German,
Okay.
and it is about the newly promoted commandant of Auschwitz.
Okay.
And it's a completely true story. And
wow.
So his family lives on this property, right? And it's like all nice and beautiful, and they have Jewish servants and maids and all that. And then there's this fence and this wall, and the other side of it is the concentration camp. And it's about 2 hours of a character study on this guy who's just become the new, commander of Auschwitz, and how he's handling that and what it's like, and it's completely in German, and it is a fascinating movie. I saw that in theaters.
Beautiful.
I think 2 years ago now, maybe.
Okay.
No, a year ago now, a little over a year ago, and it's a fascinating movie.
I feel like that's what's sad about living out there is like there's nothing left other than if I don't keep the language, like there's just nothing left of it.
Yeah.
my whole life during that time. Obviously, because I also have the worst long-term memory. So Germany, obviously, like you said, there was a lot that's happened, like the dark times. And I feel like it's cool to experience that and pay attention to it. Because while I was there, because the school took us to Berlin and showed us the wall and everything, like it was so dark. I feel like I was disassociating at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like 10 years old. What's happening? But it would be cool to understand some of the history as well as like pick up on the language again. Because it is sad not to. My mom's like, I did so much for you guys. You should at least know the language. And I'm like, but I learned English when I was like 17 and I'm exhausted. And I still speak Farsi, obviously, fluently.
That's my next question. You
absolutely.
fluently speak in Farsi.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
I do. Yeah. I mean, my mom would kill us. But
She's sad about German, but she's lethal about Farsi.
lethal is the correct term. She's like, I will punch you. I'm like, yes, ma'am. But yeah, like, I mean, that's our culture, you know?
Yeah.
And Persians are like, Iranians are literally one of the oldest, it's literally the oldest culture, one of the oldest cultures in the world. So you got to like, it's beautiful. And I want to keep up with that for sure.
No, that's fair. No, that's totally fair. But yeah,
what are you? What nationality are you? I'm sure you've talked about this a few times. But.
So yeah, no, actually, I don't think I have that much on the podcast.
What?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I care very much about the guests.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mom's side of the family, they are very much like as white as milk toast.
Like what? Like German white, British white.
Yeah, I think it's like German and English maybe. I don't know, but I just know that my grandfather and I think even his parents are from like deep South Alabama.
Okay.
Like deep South Alabama.
Alabama is wild.
Yeah. I went to a Crimson Tide Alabama football game on a homecoming weekend a couple years ago, and good God.
A couple weeks ago?
Or no, a couple years ago. Sorry, a couple years ago.
A
couple years ago. It was a fucking cult.
Was it like an experience?
Oh, yeah. It's like 93,000 people in a stadium.
I love that. I love those random experiences.
It's crazy. I was the only brown guy there.
Love it. I love it.
And from New Mexico, I'm not even that brown.
No.
But over there,
you were brown. Same with me. If I went to Alabama, I would be really brown.
But yeah, it was nuts over there. But so my mom's family are like very, very white. And then my dad's side of the family, I get it confused. But my dad's dad, I believe, is from Chihuahua, Mexico.
Okay.
And then my dad's mom is from like Guadalajara or from Mexico City.
Okay.
And they both ended up making their way up this way and met each other and all that. Started a family here, I think.
What do you mean you think?
I'm not very...
Do you not have a relationship with your dad?
No. Oh,
you
no.
don't?
I don't have a relationship with either of my parents.
Either of your parents?
Yeah. I don't mean to pour another drink right now, but...
Do you have a sibling?
Nope. Only child.
Only child, and you don't... Wait, is this like off limits? Do you not
want
to talk about
it?
Okay.
No. Ask whatever you like. Oh,
so
yeah.
your parents, like, what happened? Why don't you have a relationship with them?
So my father, long story short, he... and it's funny, and I've been thinking a lot about this too. I wonder, actually, after this conversation, I know you go through this. You see your parents as humans, you know, and I know you do that now. I had a lot of hate from my dad.
Okay. Same.
Growing up. And now that I've entered my late 20s, it's very like, I don't excuse anything you've done, but it's like you can see the breadcrumb trails.
Yes.
You know, and you're like,
why it happened and how it happened.
And not to tie it back to comic books, but it's like that's what makes the best. Not that my dad's a villain; he's a human. But like the best villains of a comic book story are the ones that you can like relate to, where it's like, oh,
that's what happened.
If I had the best if I had those circumstances, I might have done the same exact thing. Fuck, dude, I get it, man. Thanos, yeah, dude, get these people out of here. You know what I mean? Yeah, but but you know, it's with my dad, again, not excusing any of the abusive things that he was about, but like there are small snippets I remember learning about in my childhood about him from other people where I'm like, I learn, or I think about that now as an adult, And I'm like, oh, yeah, that would kind of fuck me up too. And then I look back on his short-lived marriage with my mother, and I'm like, yeah.
How long were they together?
6, 7 years married, I think.
Were you born during, like,
Yeah.
I'm assuming, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how far into it were you born?
I think I was born 2 years into the marriage, 3.
Okay.
Because I wasn't like my dad was not supposed to have kids. The way it was told to me was like my dad's mom had a experimental drug that was supposed to cure something with her reproductive system. I don't know what it was.
She had a reproductive issue?
Yeah.
Oh.
And she had like some drug back in like the 60s.
He found it how?
Well, I have no idea.
Okay.
This is the
Somehow
story
came
that I was
across
told.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, the repercussions of this is that if you take this, you may not be able to have kids.
Oh, okay. So she did it knowing she might not have kids.
Or no, sorry. Your offspring might not be able to have kids. Like the male offspring might not be able to have kids. Yeah, something like that.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
So she was like, fuck it, we'll see what happens. And I guess for the longest time, my dad just couldn't have kids. And then one day, just the puzzle pieces fit, and I showed up.
Did you have a Jesus complex from that?
Say it again?
Did you have a Jesus complex
no.
from that? No, the opposite?
No,
I've noticed sometimes when people are supposed to have kids and they do the kids, especially only kids, end up having a complex from that.
No.
Anyways, go back to your
Yeah,
story.
no. I look back and I like try to put the puzzle pieces together, and I see like from obviously a child's point of view what the marriage was like and all of that. And
Is it destructive and like toxic?
oh yeah, abusive. Oh yeah. And I was like, well, again, I don't excuse it, but I understand how these pieces were put together. And with the way that he treated me going into my early adulthood, I was like, all right, I get the message, dude. You don't want me in your life. Like, I get the message. Like,
And he was fine with you being gone?
oh yeah. And then with my mom, her and I had a very rocky me growing up, like childhood, and I really believe this. Like single mothers are very strong,
Absolutely.
Like, but it's not supposed to be that way.
No.
And not all women are built for that.
No one is really built
you know what I mean?
for that.
Like just like, and I was
So
I was
hard.
about to say that, just like single
Yeah.
parents, like single dads, are not built to raise daughters by themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, I just don't think, while she meant very well, and I never wanted for anything. I always had food, clothes, and a little bit extra. I just don't know that she knew what to do with a boy. You know what I mean?
Right. You need your dad.
Which is fine. Like,
Right.
it's not fine, but it's like, I get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get it. And like I said, I went to a great high school and a great 2-year college because of her, and I'm never not going to be thankful for that. Never. But as I became an adult and our relationship never got better, and it got like a little bit better before I deployed, and then it kind of just fell apart when I came back, I kind of looked back at that period with like the obvious assumptions. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she made some decisions while I was overseas that I'm still not okay with. And as I came back, she continued to make more decisions. And then there was just a final straw where I was like, you know what? Like, you haven't been abusive to me in my adult years, but it's been very clear to me that this relationship is a detriment to my life.
Right.
And you have no intention of making it better. So in any real kind of way.
Right.
Outside of just like Band-Aid solutions, like
Right,
we'll be
just
okay
putting
for the
actual work and
exactly. Yeah.
finish it,
You have
yeah.
no intention of doing it. And quite frankly, I don't have the time and I don't have the need. It's fine.
How does
made
that feel? Like, is that just like a heavy,
Um,
like shoulder? Like, are you carrying it, or how does that? I'm sure you're carrying it to a certain extent.
I mean, it's weird because like, and I attribute a lot of this because I'm a guy. I carry more of the dad stuff than I do the mom stuff.
Right.
Because like I see my friends that have had their fathers in their lives to like a very healthy extent, and I'm like, well, you know, I do wish that there were some life lessons that I would have learned at an early age.
Right.
Than through,
difficulty
my own fuck ups.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That's so much harder.
But then on the other hand, it's like, how much of it would I have? Because I remember who I was as a little kid and as like a young or a teenager and adolescent. It's like, well, how much of that would I really absorbed and would have mattered? And
it just
and
sinks in differently though when you're younger. And I understand what you're saying. It's harder to learn as an adult. Like it just takes more work as a teenager or an adult. Like, and it just feels like if I would have had a stable life and stable parents, I would have learned it easier. I understand that.
Yeah, and I think, for the most part, I know exactly what they are, but I have my faults. But I know, or I'm confident in who I am today.
Right.
I'm happy with it, but I'm not complacent. We were talking about earlier.
Same.
Right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Like it's funny on yesterday. So Sunday's my deep cleaning day. Like I'll clean the floors probably every other night. Like just with like my little like vacuum and Swiffer thing, just take up the dust and all that.
Nice.
But like Sundays is when I like deep clean. Like I'll clean everything, dust everything, and all that stuff. And I think about it sometimes when I'm cleaning. I'm like, man, cleaning fucking sucks. But then like
the reward.
How? No, not even the reward.
No?
How lucky am I to have a place to clean?
Oh, that's so nice.
You know what I mean? Like I think about that a lot. And I'm like, oh fuck yeah. And then like when I'm editing, and I was telling you earlier about the thing that I found to do my reels. I think about that sometimes. I'm like, man, I have to fucking edit my fucking podcast and I have to write my stand up. I was like, no, dude, you have a podcast.
You get to
do stand up comedy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's all your perspective. And I'm happy with where I am today. And it's weird because like I'll look back on my childhood and I'm like, a lot of the lessons that I have learned were not directly from my parents. Like they didn't teach me them, but they were from the actions of my parents, both positive and negative. Right. Which is like you can't just shine the light on the bad things without acknowledging the good things. You know what I mean? Like
there's not one without the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I say like, my mother raised me in a household in which I never wanted for anything. But like on the other hand, it's like there was some that was left to be wanted.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I just leave it at that. But like it is what it is. Like
we're all that's also the other part of it. Yeah. I think that's the other thing is that's hard to accept is that our parents are also just people and like they fuck up and they were fucked up themselves and they haven't gone through like they were parents, right? So like what we're working through they didn't get a chance to because you have like this little screaming child you have to take care of. And that's some dark shit too. Yeah. Which is why I haven't had children yet. Like fuck that.
Well, you just reach that and I'm starting to reach that age now where like I have friends of mine, like close friends of mine that have kids. Mm-hmm. And
I have many friends. I've definitely reached that age.
And I look at them and I'm like, damn, dude, like I am happy for all of them. Like I'm very happy for this. I'm very confident in saying I don't have a friend where I'm like, fuck, you shouldn't have had a kid.
No, seriously.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that all my close friends that have had kids, I'm like, dude, I'm so happy you're a dad.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're a mom. Like that, like that makes me happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then I think about it and I'm like, man, if I had a kid right now,
same, I would die.
I might turn out like my dad.
No, I would die.
Where I'm just angry.
No, same.
You know what I mean?
Because it's like, how do you process? Like, that's what I just always wonder is like, how do they process their emotions and still parent and like are there for them and everything that I feel, I just went through a very intense breakup after a long period of being together. And I think, like, I imagine having children because my sister and my mom always wanted me to have kids, especially with this person. And I'm so glad I didn't, only because of the fact that once we separated, we couldn't, like, I'm sure he would be an amazing dad. No, nothing against that. But co-parenting, me trying to heal through this and parenting seems insane. I don't know. I'm even neglecting my dogs, like, and they're not even that hard. No, I'm seriously am. Thank God for my mom, because I'm like, go over there. Go to your grandma. I'm like, don't look at me. They like look at me with like they want so much love, and I'm just like, go to your grandma, I really am neglecting them, and I'm so grateful I don't have kids because I can't imagine like I'm being selfish right now, and it's a weird place. Like I don't know how you heal and process through some of that stuff and then also are a good parent. That's a strange place to be.
And a lot of my friends And you hear this online too, where it's like, yeah, you're never ready. You have me. You figure it out. It's like, yeah, okay, there's a lot to that. I completely agree. And you know what, man? Like, if I found out tomorrow she's pregnant, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to do whatever. But, like, I know that right now of where I'm at in life, that, like, I would, it's not only is it ideal or not ideal, I would do my best to be the best father that I could, to not repeat what my dad was. I would probably put away drinking forever, because drinking was because drinking was a real, like, issue for my dad, a real issue. And
do you feel like you struggle with that too?
I don't, thankfully.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I don't, thankfully. But the reason I say that is I would put away drinking because I know that no matter how much I love that kid and no matter how much I would put that kid first, I would be angry that that kid got in the way of my goals.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
And that's not, and that's an ugly thing to say,
No,
but it's also, but it's a human thing.
Yes, it is.
It's a human thing.
I think everyone, even all parents, will agree with you without saying it out loud.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what it comes down to.
And that's why, in the ones that don't, that's why you have, like, stay-at-home mom, dad getting the career, or vice versa, whatever that is. You always have, like, do you know who Brett Cooper is?
Yeah, the actor? Am I making this up?
No, that's Bradley Cooper.
Oh,
Brett Cooper.
yeah?
She's like a content creator. She used to be on the Daily Wire, but now she's independent. So she's young. She's like 23, 24.
Oh my God,
she's real smart. And she had an interview recently with Sean Ryan, and he's got one of the best podcasts on the planet. Like, if you enjoy long form content, Sean Ryan is the guy.
Very cool.
I'm talking like 4, 5, 6 hour episodes. Former Navy SEAL, CIA contractor, super smart guy. And they were talking about this kind of stuff, and they brought up a good point where, nobody can have it all. You have to, like you were talking about earlier, balance.
Right.
You have to figure out, like, am I going to prioritize A or B? Like, where am I going to put all my energy into? Because you can't be a full-time, whether it's like entrepreneur, employee, climbing the business ladder, building your own thing, and a parent. You have to choose. Yeah. And right now, I choose what I'm building because I see a future in what that could be. And then if you add kids into the mix, because I still have more morals than I do, business-headed stuff, which I'm thankful for, I would put everything into that kid.
Right.
So it's like, what I mean? That's why I avoid
the right thing to do.
That's why I avoid that at all costs.
Right. Yeah. You're like, I want to do the right thing, but please, God, don't put that in my path.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's do I carry it with me? I mean, the dad stuff for sure. I've put the mom stuff to rest pretty much.
Good.
And I think the dad stuff, because I'm a guy, it'll stick with me. But
how does your mom feel about you not being in her life? Like, is she okay with all this?
I don't know.
She doesn't try to reach out or...
Well, she has, but it's very hollow. It's very... not just with the way she tried to reach out to me, but the way that she tries to reach out to the family. Because it's not just... I'm going to get real deep. So it's not just me. It's like without getting into details, the rest of the family has seen the psychosis that I've been telling them for the last 15 years.
Recently?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Within the last year.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think they just saw it recently?
Oh, I just think the fucking light bulb turned on. But it's... Yeah, but it's very... It's so clearly self-centered that it's like, oh, you're not doing this to, like, build a relationship. You're doing this to make yourself feel good. Why? Like, if you don't want people in your life, just fucking act like it. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's like no offense, like, I'm sure she's a great person, but do you think it's a little bit of narcissism where it's
yeah.
Yeah, because narcissistic people want that, like...
Yeah, validation.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And she's she was very controlling growing up. She's very controlling now, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, I don't wish ill upon her. Like, right. I want her to...
And I'm sure she did it because she was trying to be a good mom to a certain extent. It's hard to be
it's
mom.
Challenging.
Yeah.
It's challenging, but it's like, at the time, like 3 years ago or so, I had to just weigh where it was like, do I want to keep inducing the stress upon myself that's been building up across 15 years, Or do I just say enough? If she's going to keep acting this way, then I'm going to respond this way.
I think that's really brave.
Because I'm a grown adult.
Yeah.
And to be completely blunt, I've gotten to a point where it's like, well, one parent doesn't want me. If one parent's going to lie about wanting me, then fucking let's go 2 for 2 and just and be an adult.
Yeah.
Let's just be an adult. Because at the end of the day, we're all adults. And that's what I was saying a little bit earlier about you. As you grow up, you realize that your parents are just humans.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be perfect. Like
that's
it's
hard.
Like it's
that's a hard thing to swallow.
Like it's okay. It's okay if they're not perfect. Now, if you want to just wallow in that and be like, oh, my parents treated me so badly.
Some people do.
Fucking yeah. And you either wallow in that or you turn to alcohol or you turn to drugs. I mean, listen, that's between you and whatever God you believe in.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not me, dude.
Right.
It's like you were saying earlier. I'm a realist.
Right.
It is what it is, man. Life is not going to slow down for anybody.
No. I think that's a hard pill to swallow. And I think that in some ways we have our own issues because we feel that way. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to deal with it a little better, hopefully, and it doesn't come out another way, right? Like, that's the goal.
Yeah, well, and it's funny you say that because, like, I've never been, like, super big into, like, smoking or anything like that, and I have well, actually, I will say this. I know that I would love cocaine. I know that I would.
You've never tried
cocaine?
cocaine?
I would never do it, no.
Because you know you would love it.
I know I'll love it.
You have to have, like, a Capricorn moon or something. I need to read your chart and send it to your girlfriend. That is way too much control for a Gemini.
I know that I'll like it. Mm-hmm. And I'll stay away from that. But like every so often, because like now, like this is the most that I've drank in maybe like 3 weeks or so.
Right.
Because there was one night a couple of weeks ago, I was like, but
right, same.
Yeah.
I have like 3 drinks and I'm like, I'm like
yeah.
messed up.
But,
I don't drink that much either.
You know, I'll maybe have like a beer every so often or like whatever. But like, if it does ever become like, I notice for like, oh, I'm having like, oh shit, I had 3 drinks that night, 2 drinks this night, 4, 3 again, 6. Then I'll notice like, okay, dude, we're gonna do 3 weeks of nothing.
That's nice.
Like, can we do that? Oh, we can do that. And then it's like that, or like that'll trigger it if I notice that like I'm drinking a little bit too much for myself, or if I notice that like I'm like, man, I really want it. Once that goes in my brain, I'm like, no, then we're not going to do it. Then we're just not going to do it.
See, I'm like, okay, one. You know?
See, because I've been there too in my my early 20s, and 1 turned to 9.
Oh no, I've never done. I will say I've never been somebody who's like 1 turns into 9. It's always been like 1 is 1.
That
2
was
is 2.
me in my early 20s, and
right,
and
as a
like,
lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, and like really just post deployment and some serious mushroom trips, I was like, no, dude, you're stronger than yourself.
That's really cool.
You can be good.
Do you feel like the Army, Navy, what did you go to?
Yeah.
Army. Do you feel like that helped you with like self-control and that kind of thing?
Not necessarily self-control. I mean, the discipline I kind of already had. It was really just going over to so I went to for a little bit. We went to a country called Djibouti in Africa.
Okay.
And it just really showed that like it was a combination of going over there and seeing what real poverty looks like.
Right.
Like genuine poverty. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like dude taking a shit in a pond that on the other end of the pond the guy's washing his clothes in. Oh. Watching dogs run around with like human femurs. You know what I mean? Like like real poverty. You know what I mean? Like sheet metal houses and there are parts of that, and it's kind of what kind of turned me around politically too, because you would see like the Americans, they were providing jobs and stuff to the local Djiboutian people, but then like the Chinese were there too, and they were providing electricity and railroads, and Djibouti has their own university, and it looks like fucking UNM. Oh yeah.
And the Chinese were
completely funded by the Chinese.
Interesting. What do they get out of providing that for that?
They get a geostrategical advantage because do you know where Djibouti's at?
No.
So
you said in Africa.
Yeah, so it's on the east coast of Africa. So
Okay.
you've got so Africa curves up this way, right? And so you've got like Djibouti here, you got Somalia that runs down here, you got the Red Sea that comes out this way.
Right.
But then you also have like Yemen, and then the rest of the Middle East spills out that way.
Okay.
So if you can control here, you control ports, you control ports of entry, and a whole bunch of shit, right? So it's an advantage to them. But I saw all of that. I was like, oh man, what are Americans really doing overseas? But then also I saw like, this is what real poverty looks like.
Right.
You know, like life is not that hard. Things are really good in America and so on and so forth.
Right.
And that kind of just went down that rabbit hole. I forgot what you asked in the first place.
I know. What were we? We're talking about something.
I went down a rabbit hole there. But no, it's but to tie up that portion of it, it's just seeing your parents as humans, I think, is a real. And it's funny because Shia LaBeouf brought this up in a podcast interview he did with John Bernthal. And if you haven't seen that, you really should. So John Bernthal, he played like Shane in The Walking Dead.
Okay.
The Punisher in the Netflix TV series.
Oh, yeah.
He was in a small part of Sicario.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did a podcast for a while. And I hope he brings it back because he has a great...
Why did he stop?
Probably just acting and stuff. But he's a killer podcaster.
Interesting.
Super smart guy. I met him like years and years ago here in Albuquerque.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was funny. So I met him at a gym, and it was like right after he got announced as the Punisher, and I'm a little dork. I'm like, oh my God, are you John Bernthal? And he took like 10 minutes to talk to me about the Punisher.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's just a nice guy. Anyway, so
Yeah.
he interviewed Shia LaBeouf after Shia LaBeouf went through all the sexual assault allegations and all the abuse stuff in his relationship. And Shia LaBeouf brought up a really good point. He was like, in America, we don't have real like rituals for men becoming men. Like we don't really have that. And the way he boiled it down was like, it's when you take responsibility for something outside of yourself. And I think a lot of that is not just having kids, but it's recognizing yourself as an adult and then recognizing your parents as adults and recognizing everything you think they did that were negative in your life, outside of like extreme abuse, obviously.
Right.
Outside of that, everything you think they did was negative in your childhood, you look at that and you're like, you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to think it was okay. But if you can see the breadcrumb trail that led them to acting that way, you're like, oh yeah, like I hope I don't act that way if put in that same situation, but I get it.
Right.
I almost understand it. I mean, and I would imagine too with like what, if you mind me asking, like do you have a relationship with your father?
No.
all?
I haven't talked to him since I was like 12.
And that's because of your mother taking you out of...
Not even that. She actually tried to get us to be like close to him, and he tried to talk badly about her, and I was like, absolutely the fuck not.
Wow.
And he was like, well, I don't have a daughter named Sophie anymore. And I was like, cool, bye. And then he never called me again. Like, I'm glad because he's that fucked up.
At
obviously.
the age of 12.
I was 12. And that he took it that seriously. Like, I think putting that into perspective, that somebody, a 12-year-old saying, don't talk shit about my mom, they're that egomaniacal that, like, they took it that seriously is wild. And my mom has made it a point to give them numbers, everything, every single year. And he's never called us again since I was 12.
Do you think that's, again, looking at your parents as humans, do you think that's the society he was raised in?
No, he was just crazy.
It was just him. Yeah.
It was literally him. He was fucked up. And honestly, I'm grateful. Like, I think it's confusing to have a father that's that messed up, but I never wanted a relationship with him. Since I was little, I've never remember feeling like I loved him or wanted him around because he was so crazy. Yeah. He was really abusive, and that's part of why my mom wanted to leave. But I think, like, it's just so crazy to think somebody who's a father is okay with that. Like, knows their number, knows all of that, and doesn't want to be, like, I relate to you on that, but doesn't want to be a part of their child's life. Like, how do you not want to be a part of their life? That's crazy. Like, I'm grateful. I don't even know this person, right? At this point, it's like, what would I even have to talk to you about? But it's just crazy. Because I have a stepson that I had in my life since he was 4. He's almost 13, and I'm trying to create a relationship and have a relationship with him. And that's just my stepchild, let alone my own child, you know? Like, so I think I just wonder about that. Like, is it just, you're just that fucked up that you can't take on that role? Or like,
well, and I wonder too, from a biological instinct point, like your point as a woman, like I think women have a much larger inclination than men do.
To take care of their young.
To take care of young and to, you know what I mean? Because I think this might be way far off because, again, I'm not a parent at all, but I wonder how much of it is like with how, like from a father's standpoint, I wonder if with how maybe successful or just busy or whatever it is a father can be, or how well put together. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. A well put together dad can be. I wonder if how much of an impact positively they can have on their kid in a short period of time over a long period of time. It's like, I only see my dad like a couple weeks here, a couple weeks here. We keep having that. While like we're supposed, like men are like supposed to be out like doing the thing, providing whatever it is. But then women are much more nurturing. Right. And they're like consistent, you know what I mean? And I wonder when turned negatively, you see stuff like that where the dad doesn't feel like that at all. Because my dad clearly was the same way. Yeah. Like I remember I was going to bring this up, but like I remember very clearly, I was between the ages of 7 and 9. I can't remember exactly, but I remember at the time. And this is something I'll always be thankful for. My dad, 2 of the things he introduced in my life at a very early age was the gym and Batman. I don't know why. But that's just something that's always like he introduced to me early, and that's something that's always stuck with me. And I remember he had ordered me at the time, you can't do this anymore because just how like most of the comic industry is blown up and just money involved. But at the time, you could order a monthly subscription to the current Batman series that would come in the mail, and it was like $23 a month. Or $23 a year. Sorry, a year.
Oh, I was like, that's a lot.
No, super cheap.
Yeah.
Super cheap, like 23 or 33 a month. Super cheap. And I remember I got in that month's issue in his little post office box, and we had gone to a Starbucks, and he was reading his newspaper, and I was reading my comic. I remember he looked down from his paper, and he was like, you know, if you don't want to come over every weekend or every other weekend anymore, you don't have to. And I remember being like a kid, and my mom had given me like a little like prepaid cell phone. You know, it had like the minutes and the 50 text messages a month, whatever it is, like Brick Breaker and all that. Yeah. Those, yeah. And I remember being like, okay, I don't know what that means. Like I remember my little brain like not computing what that meant. And I remember being like, I have to pee. And I went to the bathroom, and my mom was in Colorado because it was like her weekend off. She had gone to Colorado with some friends or whatever. And I texted my mom being like, hey, Dad just said this. What does that mean? I was like, what does that mean?
What did your mom say?
And she was like, I'm in Colorado. I'll be home as soon as I can. Just hang tight. Aww. Yeah. And then I look back on that now as an adult, and I was like, yeah, he didn't want to be a dad.
Or he felt not good enough to be a dad.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, maybe.
That's always something that happens.
But then I've thought about that too, but he always had like, maybe this is shallow, but he always had the monetary means to be a dad.
Sometimes internally.
Maybe it was like an internal thing. I thought about that too. But then I think
it's just not about you, is what I'm saying, and I'm sure you know.
So
that
right. Yeah, but no, it wasn't me. It was the idea of the son, or the idea of responsibility, and I think about this like because I think parents pass down to children, for better or worse, inherent priorities or instincts. I think instincts is a better word. And for me, like again, I'm about to be 28 in a few months, and I have no instinct to be a parent. But I see my other friends who have been like, yeah, I've been wanting to be a dad
That's an interesting concept.
for a long time. You know what I mean? And I think
a
parents,
gene for instincts.
yeah,
huh?
I think parents. Well, I think it's like a biological, like your environmental thing that's passed down to you. Where it's like if you're in, if you go back, you know, generations and generations, if you're fighting off saber-toothed tigers and you're fucking having to hunt and gather and all this kind of stuff, you pass on these instincts onto your kids so you can keep the gene pool going, so you can keep surviving. You're evolving that way, right? And I think, and this is not a proven theory at all, but I think like parents pass down basic instincts to kids. And I think about how my dad was and how he acted, like through his actions.
Right.
And yeah, he probably definitely has some insecurities and some whatever, but I think at his core, he just didn't ever want to be a parent. Mm-hmm. And then when I showed up, because he was under the impression I could never have kids, and then I showed up, it's like, oh fuck, I have a son. What the fuck do I do with this?
Yeah.
I just think about different instances where it's like, oh yeah, he just didn't want to have a kid. And growing up, like late teens into 20s, I was like, man, like that's fucked, man. Like, why would you not want to? But now that I'm entering my late 20s, I'm like,
You get it.
I get it, man.
Did he have a hard childhood? And like,
I not even know. I've heard bits and pieces of his childhood, and I know they grew up very poor.
Right,
They-
so it's
they
probably
grew up,
similar.
you know?
I think it's like instincts, like you said, as well as trauma. Like I always,
Yeah.
my ex and I used to always discuss the fact that like trauma is almost like a demon you pass on, and like a person who was molested as a child, who like molests a child. It's like
Yeah.
a demon you literally pass on over and over again. And I think like that's the same kind of trauma where he has something where he doesn't feel good enough or whatever it is, like he just can't handle it, and then he passed it on. And I think like that's how you break generational curses, is like that's the quite literal meaning of it, is that breaking through those things that were passed on the gene or the whatever it is.
You have to make a choice.
You make a choice and you break it, and then you don't pass it on to your child. So I think like nature versus nurture, like how much do you by your behavior show the person, your child, that that's not how it has to be, and then they make different choices and then it stops. And I think that's how generational curses break. So that's like a whole interesting thing too, and I don't think there's been enough studies on it, obviously. And that's
Well, it's like, how do you study that?
right. How do you
Because
study that?
you
have
go
to keep
off of like,
generational,
like anecdotal stories, and it's like, well,
Yes.
like this happened to me, and then I heard it happened to him, and then
But I really firmly believe that. I feel like it's just, if you break it, you break it. I think the chances of your kid doing it is really low. I think as long as you break it. But how much do you want to give yourself up? Because I'm like, as a parent, do I want to like be completely selfless and like give myself up and do what my mom did, which was devote, like she was completely just like thinking about being a parent and nothing else. And like, do I want to do that? Not so much.
And
Like
you think about that
horrific.
too, or it's like the situation that your mother was in. That was literally a matter of saving her child's life or not.
Literally. And
So-
I feel like I don't even know if I would have done what she did, which was take 2 kids and like give up her life and like raise them in another country and have no life so they can have a better life. And I think about this with immigrant parents all the time. I'm like, how did you guys do that? Like, you give up your whole life for that? To me, I'm like, I want to live my life. You gave up your life? Like, what? That's so selfless. Like, you don't think that's the most selfless thing?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be that selfless. I think I would be really resentful if I was that selfless.
And I'm the same way, where
Yeah.
it's like, and it's not even to that degree, but I'm just like, I know the goals that I want to achieve, and having a child would get in the way of that.
Yes.
And it's just like,
Because I would be a good mom, but I would not give as much as the amazing moms I know. Like, I just wouldn't give everything up.
I wonder if that's, today at least, I don't even know if that's achievable to get to the point where you know you would give enough. I think you have to, so that's why, and again, that's why I love Spider-Man so much, is he's an archetype.
He's just your hero.
Well, he's an archetype where greatness is thrust upon him.
Yeah.
And he has
point.
to deal with that. right? He has the great
But he
power,
deals with
and he
it
has
so
great
good.
right. And it's like, I don't know that something like, if you're that type of personality, I don't know that you achieve whatever you think the threshold is of like, I would be a great parent now. I don't know you achieve that without having a kid. And that's the paradox. You know what I mean? I don't think you achieve that without having it thrust upon you.
Well, also Spider-Man gets a little more instant gratification. It's like he's the hero. He's like,
disagree.
no one knows. You disagree?
I disagree.
No one knows what's happening, but he saves someone, and he's like, oh my god, I just saved
No,
people.
not at all. Okay,
you
so
don't think
you've
so?
never read a Spider-Man comic.
No, I really haven't.
Okay, so what makes Spider-Man so beautiful as a character is that on the outside, that's what it is that he's saving the people, he's saving New York City, but he loses everything in the process. He doesn't like, have you seen I think like if in the short form version of it, have you seen the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies?
No.
With Tobey Maguire? Please.
Okay,
Please.
send them to
I know
me.
you don't watch movies very much, but please.
I don't. Not just
But
recently. I'll watch them.
What's great about those movies is they encapsulate the Peter Parker. And because that's what's so good about what makes these movies and these characters resonate so much is like, it's fun watching like the Spider-Man or the Batman or the Wonder Woman or all of that. But people stick around for the man, the woman part of that equation, because that's where we relate to it. So with a character like Spider-Man, Peter Parker takes the time to be Spider-Man to save New York, but in the process, he's failing out of college. So that means he's not utilizing his intellect to the most that he can, to the highest
get
level.
Something out of it.
But he does for saving people, but he doesn't get to use his intellect as much as he can.
Right.
He can't put as much into his relationship with Mary Jane, so he's losing the love of his life.
He's sacrificing.
He can't nurture his relationship with Aunt May because he's doing Spider-Man stuff, so he loses his familial tie. Now that Uncle Ben is dead and his parents are dead, she's all he's got left. And then when the stories come around where Aunt May dies, where Mary Jane dies, and it's like, or not Mary Jane, sorry, Gwen Stacy, his first girlfriend. Gwen Stacy died because of you being Spider-Man. If you were never Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy grows old and you have a beautiful life together. But because of your exploits as Spider-Man, the Green Goblin comes and takes Gwen Stacy away from you. It's the responsibility part of that power equation. And so...
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yes, my point bringing this up is like, I don't know that a lot of people get to achieve their full potential without having these great burdens put upon them. But then on the other hand, you have people like apparently our fathers, where they have a great responsibility and a great burden put upon them and they throw it away.
Right.
Because that is a human choice. That is, if it was like a video game where it's like an RPG, a role-playing game, like Red Dead Redemption or whatever, where like you have like the dialogue wheel and you get to choose how this interaction goes, it's from like nurturing to disposal.
What a sad existence that is, though. I'm sure within deep down, and I literally can imagine being like, I can't do this, but also every day to some extent being like, I'm a fuck up. And that's just going to be a part of you.
Well, and I'll be honest too, I wonder, the percentage isn't zero, but with people like that, I wonder if it even registers.
I think it does.
But what to what level?
It's so deep where it's not so like, it's not up here, but it's down there and it's deep enough where it's something, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Like a stomach ache at all times.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
But you don't know what's wrong almost. Like, and that's when it doesn't register. But something is wrong. Something is bothering you. Something doesn't feel right. And I think that's to your point earlier. When you're not delusional, that's when can be like strong in yourself and who you are, because you don't have those fucked up things you're not dealing with that's hurting you and you don't know what's wrong. And I think those delusional people that the authenticity is missing from, that's what they deal with, is that stomach ache when they don't know what's the matter and they can never figure it out.
No, they know exactly what the matter is.
Well, deep down they know.
They know exactly.
Yeah.
And I think,
but they don't want to deal with it, right? So it just sits there.
Right. And I think that's one of the beautiful parts about the human experience is like, I forget who I was talking to about this, but like if you are going through, because again, life isn't that hard these days in America, but a lot of people's issues are because of themselves. And you have these extraneous things where it's like family member or loved one gets, like severely sick, or someone passes away, like, they're out of your control. But a lot of your issues are created by yourself. So if your biggest problem is yourself, that means you can fix you. You know what I mean? You can go around and you can try to mend and repair those things and do whatever it is you need to do to try to rectify those things. That's a good problem to have.
And you have so many opportunities nowadays. You have all the tools you need. Like
I think you have a limited amount of opportunities.
Well, nowadays you don't think you have all the tools you need?
Well, I just say it because if your problem is like a child,
right,
and you haven't mended that relationship, what if that child suddenly dies?
Oh, no, that's
it's
that's
like
a whole different thing.
It's an extreme, but it's like that's the reality of life.
But if circumstances are just like a normal circumstance,
right,
and you're fucked up from whatever you're fucked up from is what's keeping you from being able to handle it or deal with it the proper way. You have tools and you're just not utilizing it. And
I agree.
Nowadays, like, there's so much free therapy, like, in having counseling, in the sense of like having insurance. So many therapists take insurance, and there's just ways to find, or go do mushrooms. I don't know. Like, there's just something you can do to figure it out. Like, seriously, just go to the mountains and do some mushrooms and do it a couple times a year and you'll figure it out. Like,
yeah.
Mark my words. Do some mushrooms in the mountains.
Figure your shit out.
You'll figure it out.
Well, listen, Sophie, this has been just about 3.5 hours.
I know.
This has been a pleasure.
It absolutely has.
I'd love to do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
This was awesome. We didn't even get into what you like. We got into a little bit of it, but what you do on your social media side of things. But I think this has been a really great deep dive into you and your life story. And I had like at least 10 other questions about your upbringing I didn't get to yet. So I think this has been really great. And thank you again for being so authentic about your experience and what you've done, and what you've been through and everything you're achieving now. Where can everyone find you on social media and all that?
Yeah, so social media handle is Sophie, Sophie. Some people are like Fi. I'm like, no. Monsef, Monsef. So yeah, that's where you can find me. I just like love supporting local businesses. So that's mainly my account, is aside from hair. So just want to like showcase local businesses, support them, get some cooler businesses to succeed here, because there's so many. We just need to support them.
Listen, this has been one of the easiest podcasts I've ever done.
Oh, good.
This has been a blast. So
thank
you for coming and doing this.
Of course.
And I'd love to do it again.
Me. Absolutely.
This has been a blast. Thank you everyone for listening and watching, and I will see you next time. Bye everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you like what you've seen here, please share it with as many people as possible. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It really does help out the podcast. And if you're feeling extra generous, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon, which I have coming soon.